order. This meeting of the Planning Board of the City of Elizabeth convened this Thursday, the 12th day of September in the year 2013, has been duly advertised in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6, as a specially scheduled meeting published as part of the annual meeting schedule. Notice of this meeting has been furnished to the Star Ledger on Friday, January 18th, 2013. The notices of the cases to be heard were also published in the Star Ledger at least 10 days before today. Roll call, Madam Secretary?
Chairman Haas.
Aye.
Chairman Moreno.
Aye.
Commissioner Rivera.
They make every good chairman today.
Commissioner Nunes.
Aye.
And Councilman Gollman.
Here.
Commissioner Carvalho. Aye.
Everyone, please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the first order of business tonight is to approve a resolution that we heard last month, PO 813, and I believe we all have copies of this. If I can find mine, it would be good. Okay, I will look at the attorney's copy. In the matter of PO 813, the property in question is 10 North Avenue East in the MRC zone. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Gollman. A second? Isaiah? Seconded? All in... call the roll. I believe the only people who are eligible to vote are Councilman, myself, and Isaiah at this point.
Chairman Haas.
Aye.
Councilman Gollman.
Aye.
Chairman.
Commissioner,
Commissioner.
that's a hard word.
I know.
You don't want, trust me, stay a commissioner.
We only have 3 though, right?
I think it's 3.
Were you here? Yes. You vote too.
Commissioner Carvalho. Aye.
Okay. Motion is carried. We have the minutes before us, the minutes of the meeting of the last meeting. I found the magic resolution. The minutes of the last meeting, may I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Councilman Gollman, seconded by me. Gordon Haas. Will you call the roll, please?
Roll call. Chairman Haas.
Aye.
Commissioner Moreno. Commissioner Rivera.
Aye.
Commissioner Nunes.
Aye.
Commissioner Carvalho. Aye. And Councilman Gollman.
Aye.
Okay. Is the Housing Authority represented?
No.
Gentlemen in the hall? Is ready?
Anyone from the Housing Authority?
Is Mr. McCarthy here?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Oh.
There you are. So
Yes, I am,
you're
Mr.
representing
Chairman.
the Housing Authority. I'm calling the Housing Authority.
This isn't, believe it or not, it's not the housing authority this time.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Okay, let me read here. I'm calling PO 913, 82 First Street, 82 First Elizabeth Housing LLC. Mr.
Yes.
McCarthy, sorry about that.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Dan, your appearance, please.
You're not.
Dan, come on.
Dan, your appearance, please. Up here? Okay.
Sit next to Victor, and
Yes.
the witness is going to go here.
Actually, you know what, if he sits over there and the witness here,
That's fine.
it's better than if there's no tape.
Daniel J. McCarthy, Rogan McCarthy, on behalf of the applicant. Do you want to do
PO 913.
Mr. Slade?
No, it's like, whoa.
Where you guys start?
I'm from Davis Park. Morris Avenue, Kane University, a lot of students in the evening.
I'm sorry.
Flood water, we heard up to the hubcaps.
Wet.
Okay. Mr. McCarthy,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first witness is Mr. Rafael Salermo, who is the developer and owner of the project. And I'd ask that he be sworn.
Stand up, please. Raise your right hand. Victor, do solemnly swear the testimony you're giving will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You too, Victor?
I do.
Okay, have a seat. Victor, name and address, please.
Victor E. Venegra, 320 North Avenue East, Stratford, New Jersey, City of Elizabeth planner.
Sir, would you state your name and give your address, please?
Ralph Salermo, 921 Elizabeth Avenue, Elizabeth, New Jersey, 07201.
I say only your MO.
And thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would note for the record that I have, and I will provide to the Secretary of the Board, the affidavit of proof of publication and mailing, and that I believe that is in order, and I'll provide that to the clerk of the board. And tonight we will have Mr. Salermo and the architect of the project, Mr. Guerra, testify. And I'd simply ask Mr. Salermo to give a general overview of the project for the board.
This is 82 First Street. It's adjacent to a property that we just finished developing. It's going to be used for affordable housing. It's an existing three-family, three-story structure. So it's going to be converted into 6 affordable housing.
And Mr. Salermo, the timing of the application and the reason why that we're before the board tonight is as a result of the monies that have become available through the federal government and the state government for Hurricane Sandy relief. And would you just give a brief overview of that to the board?
That is correct. The federal government made an allocation of money available to the state of New Jersey for remediation to the hurricane damage, and a certain allocation of that money has been made available for affordable housing. It's a very strict timeline. This application for funding was presented to the DCA approximately a month and a half ago, and the governing body of the city of Elizabeth has also passed a resolution in support of the project. And again, it's for the creation of the workforce / affordable housing, much needed in the port area.
And as in terms of this project, its current condition is that it actually needs to be rehabilitated and brought back into
Right now,
proper condition, so that
it's currently being held up. It needs to be demolished. It's vacant and dilapidated.
And unless there's any questions from the board or the public, I'm finished with Mr. Salermo.
Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Salermo?
Mr. Salermo, you have a resolution of need from the council?
Yes, we do.
Commissioners?
This is one of Councilman Goldman here. This is going to be affordable housing, you say?
That is correct.
And affordable housing meaning you're going to charge for low-income families.
That is correct. The property, the rents for the one bedrooms will be approximately $680, and 2 bedrooms will be approximately $875. The rents are set by the federal government, so it's all dependent on the median income for the area at the time that they're rented.
That's including utility.
That includes water and sewer. The tenants would pay their own electric and cable.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners? Seeing none, Mr. McCarthy, your next witness.
Our next witness is the architect for the project.
Before you sit down, you solemnly swear the testimony you're giving will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I do. And I have it for the record. James R. Guerra, I work at 5 Jefferson Avenue.
And Mr. Chairman, I believe that Mr. Guerra has
Mr. Guerra has
testified.
appeared before this board numerous times, not in this room, but before this board many
And
times.
I'd ask that he be accepted as an expert on
Absolutely.
this
As an expert,
application.
we recognize his credentials.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ferrer, I'm just going to let you take the board through the architectural and engineering details of the project so that we can put on the record exactly what's going to be done on this parcel.
All right, well, the property is at 82 Kerr Street, it's a lot that's 25 by 100, and what this project proposes is an infill building.
People in the hall, no talking, we hear it in here and it's interfering.
Ladies and gentlemen outside, please, if you have a conversation, take it down to the other end of the hall. Excuse me, the other end of the hall. Thank you.
So what this project is proposing is a three-story building with 2 apartments on each floor. The site is 100 feet deep, so the building from the front property line towards the back is 80 feet. So at the rear of the property, there's a 20-foot deep, 25-foot wide green area. There's one variance, and it has to do with lot coverage. The total coverage permitted would be 70%, where slightly more than that, we're 80%. I think,
Jim, let me ask you a question. I think we said this before. When you give us plans, can you show us the neighboring buildings?
all the buildings down here on both property line to property line.
But
So,
at least show us where they are. I mean, I'm looking at empty lots. I mean, how am I supposed to know that? I don't see it anywhere.
Yeah, I don't-
Want me to interject? I may.
Well, I want to see if it's on.
One witness to the-
I want to see if it's on slide.
It's not.
Yeah, actually, it is. On Joe's side is
Which one?
the
Two?
sheet that has number 2 on the bottom. On the upper left.
It shows property lines. but it
No.
doesn't show buildings.
Those hash marks that are to the right and left of the building, those are actually a wall of the building.
So there's no, what you,
There's no zero space.
so, and this is lot line to lot line, and this is sideline to sideline?
Correct. That's why all the buildings, they literally touch each other. And that's what it's existing today.
But the
Sometimes,
building is being torn down and being replaced, so does it continue to exist that way?
yeah, but in the whole 6 area, actually, there's no side yard requirement. They actually encourage you to build it this way.
So what's the second
You cannot, so what is the front and back? If you look at the floor plans, which is our second sheet, the windows are front and back, and there's a light well kind of in the middle of the building, a light shaft. And this is similar to a building that this developer just completed on the right side of this, number 84, has the very similar layout with the light well.
The windows that face that light well open?
Yes.
So what's going to keep garbage from being in that light well?
You know, it actually gives you access to it, so it's turned off.
There is a way in the front first floor.
It doesn't go down to the doors. Actually,
They're on the first
actually,
floor.
it is on the first one, this one, on this other building, it doesn't go down to the first floor, this one it does.
The garbage is where? How are we getting garbage in?
Oh, okay. Basically the same,
We own the adjacent property.
what the developer is saying is that the adjacent property and the adjacent property has a refuse area, a large refuse area to the rear.
So the tenants will have to walk over to the next building?
Well, we have full-time janitorial services.
Chairman,
for our
we got
building.
double-
No,
We
let
can't-
me.
We can't ask questions.
Sorry. I apologize.
We'll call Mr. Salerno back to answer that question. Right now, the witness is just where we ask questions, where.
All right, so basically on our second sheet, which is G100 on the floor plan of the building, on the left side is the first floor, and there's a stair, a door and a stair on the left side, which takes you up to the second and third floor. You can walk through on the right side to get to the rear parking. And that's pretty much, and then the elevations on the last sheet G200. As you can see, there are basically no windows on the two long sides. And on the front and back, there are windows and doors.
And this is a walk-up.
Correct.
Is it sprinkled?
Yes.
What's the second means of egress from these apartments?
Basically, with this meets code the way there's one stair in, sprinklers, and the windows are of a certain minimum size.
So that theoretically, if the second means of egress is out the back window, out the front window, but the fire department can't get into the backyard if there's a fire,
Actually, they can from the adjacent property.
in the adjacent property. Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Guerra?
Yes.
Councilman?
I noticed on the rear, it's not showing, there's a rear door. Inside, is there a stairwell protruding down to the, from inside to the rear door? For the second floor?
No. No. From the third, let's start moving from the back, on the first floor, the rear apartment, there is a door to the rear yard. If you're upstairs, in the second and the third floor, there's one main stair that takes you down to the street. It's the same question that the chairman had.
I maybe I misunderstood. So there's no way for the second floor to get to the rear unless they go out the front, is that what you said?
There's no way for the second,
And third.
there's only one apartment that has access to the rear yard.
First floor.
But is it a common rear yard? Can all the tenants use the rear?
Really
Only
can't.
that person on that first floor?
Yeah.
And so if I have garbage that I need to bring, I gotta go walk out in the street, walk to the next building and go in that building?
We could lock,
I mean, there's one area, I'm sorry.
go ahead. Well,
I keep jumping the gun, I apologize.
Well,
What do you guys want to swear me back?
Mr.
as long as the
let Mr.
developer
Guerra-
agrees to it.
So I'll let him speak. I'll tell him and then he tells.
Go ahead.
Some people just don't know.
Let Mr. Guerra speak.
All right, essentially what we're saying is that we can, there's a hallway. Take it away. What we can do, if you look on the first,
He's gonna use this one. He's gonna bring it over back.
there's two options. You could bring it back, or right in the middle there, you could make an interior trash room.
I'm not so interested in the trash room. I'd like to have people have access to the green space.
Then run the
behind the building.
all the way through.
That's, I'm kind of along with the chairman. I'd like to have some way that second and third floor, be able to get,
They can come down, they actually have to go outside and come back in.
Right.
But they can walk right through the building to the rear yard.
Okay, I see.
Understand that now we're cutting into a handicap apartment that needs more room than the second, third, fourth floor. Right, we're gonna cut the living space of that first apartment, correct? No, we're cutting into it. We're cutting into an apartment that actually needs more room because of their handicap.
there's no way that you could make that possible. Take a look at that plan. There's no way we can make that possible, that we can gain from the third or the second floor
These stairs end up in the front of the building.
to the back.
And a long linear building like this is simple.
And then you lose space in that first apartment.
A lot of space. And for a wheelchair, that's not good.
Here's the court.
Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman? Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm on the third floor, if I break out in this apartment, on the third floor, I'm living on the third floor, and the only way that I have to get out down to the front.
Down to the stair, or the windows, and I get windows, and the building sprinkler.
If you're on the third floor, the exit windows, 3 stories.
Well, the firemen, you don't go out with them, the firemen, that's for them to
But the
get.
firemen have to get around
And that's
through
what-
the other building, which is adjacent to this building. If you haven't watched the news tonight, buildings that are close to each other sort of sometimes go up together.
This is according to the construction code.
I understand the construction code. It's, can I ask, this, you say this is an affordable housing? How is rental decided in this? I'll save it for Mr. Salerno until he comes back. That's not your question. Any other questions regarding, the attorney has a comment?
I just wanted to clarify what variances were needed here. You mentioned one variance for the open space, or variance, I believe. Lot coverage.
Lot
Now,
coverage.
when this application, well, looking at the package, when the application was originally filed, it was followed with the zoning board for a use variance. I guess somebody eventually concluded that
Yeah,
wasn't necessary.
Tony and Victor clarified that, basically that the Hope 6 master plan recommends that there be retail on the first floor, but not a requirement. But Tony said that they basically, the treating of C2, which this area is in, is that you can have residential retail. So that's why it came.
That's why we're here, okay. And Victor's letter also identified an open space bulk variance, which I guess is just the inverse of the coverage variance, right? His letter talks about open space being part equal to 100 square feet per unit.
100 square foot per year.
So that's the second difference, right?
Victor, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, it's on the letter.
It's in the letter.
I don't
Item B,
have-
2B. But that is
2B.
required of Hope 6, that.
Open space is required to equal 100 square feet per unit, 600 square feet in this case, whereas 500 square feet of lawn area is being provided in the rear yard. So you're off by slight amount.
All right, so those are
Now, is
the
the
two.
building footprint the same as the existing building, or is it
Yes.
larger?
No, it's pretty much the same.
So they actually have a pre-existing non-conformity on this.
Yeah, but they're tearing down the existing building.
Okay, that's open.
Okay. I'd like you, if you have no objection, counsel, to call Mr. Salerno
No,
back.
absolutely, to clarify the issues that the board has
Briefly,
raised.
are there any windows on the buildings on both sides?
No.
Not on the side.
Okay.
Neither side, because they're butt up against the buildings on either side.
Getting it on the right.
Okay. Who had questions for Mr. Salerno? You had questions?
Yes, about the garbage.
State your name, please, again for the record.
Ralph Salermo. What we could offer, right now, we have a property that's immediately adjacent to this. So the building, if you're looking at this building, the proposed project, immediately to the left of that is a property that's not owned by us. It's a retail on the ground floor, and it's multiple apartments on it.
That's the corner building?
That's the corner building, it's a 3-story structure.
Yeah, the tree next to it.
Potentially. I mean, there's a lot of issues there. There wasn't really sewer coming down First Street. You know, the infrastructure there is very old, and we've been dealing with the development of that stuff for some time now. So looking at this building, it's an existing 3-story, very large apartment units that is currently vacant. And immediately to the left of this is the retail with the multiple units. Immediately to the right is an adjacent property that we recently just developed, which has an apartment on the ground floor, and we raised the building with steel and concrete. So this is like a phase 2 to that development. This is a steel and concrete raised structure with a 1-bedroom handicap accessible unit at the front, right, and then all parking behind. And then behind there's the rear yard that connects to the rear yard to this property. So if someone in this building needed to take their trash out, yes, they'd have to come outside, come across, let's say their door is here, so they'd have to come approximately 25 feet, and then go to the trash enclosure that's in the parking area. So, kind of like garden apartment living, where you'd have to go to your dumpster and throw away your garbage. If this board would be so inclined, I'd be more than happy to provide a trash enclosure at the ground floor in this space, instead of having the window well open all the way down. Since we don't require windows at the ground floor, what I could do is build a structure there, make it so the first floor, it would be, in essence, it would become a balcony to these 2 units on the second floor, and it would be a trash enclosure on the first floor. That would probably be a better solution, to be more convenient for the tenants, and it would be less of a disturbance for the handicap requirements of the units and the accessibility.
Right.
So if you look at
The concern would be that that handicapped person, the way you described it, would have to somehow or other get all around that building to get to the next building. Can I ask you a question? You said that other building is raised. How many stories is that?
the same stories, 3 stories.
So that the first floor has the steel behind it?
There's
So
one apartment.
there are 5 apartments in that?
Oh, there's
building?
more in there. It's a wider lot, I believe it's 50 feet. But, Mr. Chairman, I want to say it's 9 units.
Okay. Because the answer to your problem too on this building is pick it up.
Yeah,
I
unfortunately.
know it's much more expensive, and I know the
Well,
state isn't going to pay for that, right?
It wouldn't necessarily answer the question. It may answer, number one, it'd be a lot more expensive. Number two, it'll only answer the question of open space.
And accessibility.
And accessibility to the yard area. Because it wouldn't increase, we wouldn't be able to park, once you have 25 feet.
Right, no.
You know, you need a certain amount of feet for your alleyway, and you couldn't get any maneuverability in there. So, as soon as you start to analyze this particular lot in that way, it just becomes infeasible. And really, this is, balancing both needs, the needs of the community and the needs of being able to pencil out the development budget to make it work. This is really the best plan that we have to offer. But obviously, we're always willing to work and tweak it to please everyone.
My question, Mr. Flemmer, before was the affordability. How is rent determined in this?
Rent is determined based on 50% of the median income for the area. And 50% of the median income is, don't hold me to any of these numbers, but it's approximately $34,000 a year. So the rent would be calculated based on a $34,000 a year
Percentage of that. Percentage of that.
30% is the federal guideline. In other words, the federal government has determined that no one should pay, in order to pay an affordable housing expense, whether it be mortgage.
More than 30%.
That's why your mortgage.
More than 30%.
More than 30% of your income. No more than 30% of your income should go towards your housing expense. So the rent on these units would be in accordance with that. So a family of, in a 2-bedroom unit, you could have no more than a 3-person household, potentially 4. If it was a husband, wife, and 2 daughters, they'll allow you to put the 2 daughters in the bedroom together. But if it was a husband and wife, a son and a daughter, they would frown against you putting, sharing the bedroom. So a family of 3 should not be able to earn more than $33,000 a year. Hence the reason why the low parking demand. And you have a lot of jobs, that have spurred up in the area over there, especially at the mall.
You also have transportation there.
There's bus service, which is not New Jersey Transit. It's actually a coach that provides a service in that area. But for example, Jersey Gardens Mall, which is a big hub, if you think of most of those retail jobs, you're talking, $10, $12, $14 an hour. Even if husband and wife both work at that rate, they're well below the income.
Commissioners, any other questions?
Do you accept Section A? Or
Yes, we do.
Section A?
We accept Section 8,
Okay.
we market our units, through a marketing plan. We do background checks, we do credit checks, we do criminal background checks. Our particular criteria, we don't rent to any tenants, for example, that have had prior evictions. We don't rent particularly to any criminal backgrounds, but just hardworking citizens that the type of housing that we provide for the commissioners that haven't had an opportunity to see some of our housing is, every one of these units. In this particular case, they'll have a washer and dryer inside of their unit. These will be all 100% hardwood floors throughout. Each tenant will have their own central heating and cooling inside of their unit. It'll be an Energy Star project, so it'll be very, very energy efficient. Their electric bill will be very low. We use all porcelain tile in our bathrooms, Energy Star rated appliances, 6-panel doors. Just those are some of the amenities that we offer to our tenants.
Any other questions,
Mr.
Commissioners?
Schvartsman, do you have a private company that picks up the garbage, or is it the city?
This particular project, I don't know if it's the city or if it's private party. If the city offers pickup, our employees bring it to the curb. If not, then we have arrangements with either Waste Management or other.
Do you know what you do next door?
I don't.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is if you have private carting and there should be a need for garbage to be picked up more than twice a week because you don't have a place for the garbage next door, then I'm assuming that you would take care of that.
Absolutely. Not only that, we actually have a policy right now where, our full-time field people, if we have any additional amount of garbage on any of our sites, we consolidate that and bring it to the recycling center.
So would you be opposed to putting that in the resolution?
Absolutely not.
The condition.
If he has private carting for the garbage, that if there's a need for it to be picked up more than twice a week, because now it's the load of garbage for the 2 buildings as opposed to 1, that it'll be taken care of.
Sure.
You can have parking issues in the area?
Our experience in any of our buildings, we have, I believe, 7 or 8 parking spaces underneath the building that's next door. So you need to understand who we're renting to. We're renting to, hardworking husband and wife earning, both of them together can't earn more than $33,000. Every tenant that comes to us has to provide us with their banking statements, their 2 years tax returns, copies of, any child support, anything that they would have that would constitute income. And it cannot exceed $33,000 a year. Once you take out our rent, which is 30% of that income, they don't really, the vehicle ownership just immediately drops. So you'll find that, in a non-senior housing, in an affordable housing development, you should have about 40 to 50% vehicle ownership. So, again, if we did have parking issues, we would have difficulty renting the units, One of the good things about this particular property is that, I believe it's either Fulton or Franklin, I'm not sure what the corner is, but it's Fulton. It's, there's plenty of parking,
Victor,
around
the standards of, the national standards of how many parking spaces per apartment never apply in these neighborhoods, correct? It's a Hope 6 area. There's never a need for as many parking spaces as called for by the ordinance, so I don't think that's a problem. I'm pretty sure that that's an easy situation. Any other commissioners have questions? You have any other witnesses?
That's all my witnesses.
Is there any elected official in the audience who has any comments regarding this application? If so, please come forward. Mr. Salermo, if you would slide out and let Councilman Torres sit.
Raise your right hand, sir. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're giving will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And part of the story. 137 4th Street.
Councilman, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Good evening, everyone. I support this project. I'm the new councilman in the city of Elizabeth, First Ward. My reasons are this property has been an eyesore for many years. Affordable housing in the port area is very, very big. As Mr. Salermo said, most of the families in the area make under $35,000. So it will be great for the community, great for families to have a new place to live and affordable. And the eyesore is definitely good. Any questions?
Any questions for the council?
As long as he meets code, I'm okay with it.
Is there anyone in the audience who has any comments regarding this application? If so, please come forward. Okay, so they would be in the door if they were interested. Commissioners, may I have a resolution?
Move the resolution for vote.
Move the resolution for a yes vote or a no?
Yes vote.
Yes vote. Okay, may I have a second? Seconded. Here with Commissioner Cavallo is doing double duty.
Seconded by Nunes.
Please call the roll.
Chairman Haas.
Aye.
Commissioner Moreno. Aye. Commissioner Rivera.
Aye.
Commissioner Nunes.
Aye.
Commissioner Carvalho, aye. And Councilman Ballmer.
Mr.
Congratulations.
Chairman, members of the board, thank you very much.
Congratulations, good luck. How soon do you expect to start, Mr.
Tomorrow.
As soon as the DCA releases the money. But God bless you guys. Thank you very much for everything, for all the support. Appreciate it.
Have a safe ride home.
Oh, we're going to the next one.
Oh, yeah, I know you're going next door, that you were doing the double header here today. Before we get down to the other two development hearings, I'd like to entertain PO 812, 29-35 Smith Street, Alzira Antunes. Is council present? No. You represent?
My son.
Are you testifying as well?
Yes.
I don't know if you can represent yourself and testify at the same time.
Well, I'm speaking on behalf of my mom.
Okay. I know he doesn't have to. So your mom is the witness?
No.
You're the witness?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll be sworn.
Speaking in English. Okay. I will sit down there. You come over here. She can't speak English, so he's gonna have to. Raise, stand up, please. Stand up and raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do, Victor Venegra, city planner.
Thomas Antunes. My address is 29 Smith Street.
209 Smith Street.
29-35.
Well, no, he said
Okay.
Well, I came here a year ago, same board. First we had one lot, and my mom gave me, she subdivided it, she gave me the property, so I could build a two-family house. And there's a garage in the back, to be knocked down, but I won't knock it down. Upon selling the house, right now it's useful, we use it as storage, I have work done to there. I fixed things around the house, and I would like to keep it. You know, I'll sign something saying that, you know, if I ever sell even one of the property, it'll come down. It's structurally sound. It's not in the way of anything. You know, it's a good building. You know, nothing is falling apart in it. And the other thing is that there was a drainage pit, and that. It was in the plan to install a drainage pit in front of the new house, but the architect came by while we were building, and he said it was not required.
Did the architect put it in originally?
Yes, it was. He said it was.
Bless you. Mr. Zender?
Yes, he said that it wasn't a site plan, but. It's an improvement standard, but it's not required because he explained to me the soil was mostly clay. It was a clay soil, and we put pavers, so pavers absorb a little. He told me it was not.
So you built that second house?
Yes. We're all done. I'm just waiting to get the switches off so I can get a CO.
Mr. Venegra?
Yes.
Would you like to comment on this since your name is mentioned in the letter that Mr. Zender sent out?
The only issue here is we don't have a plan. The board does not have a plan of what exactly. I have the old plan that was approved, and it shows the old garage, but it doesn't go into detail on the coverages and stuff. You do have ordinances for total lot coverage. And I think we have ordinance you came up with, I don't know about how many garages you can have on property. So because of this is not a garage, not an accessory structure, because you can't get to it. And it may exceed the total coverage, there may be a variance involved.
Well, I have a picture. The only garage it's a three-car garage. The only garage that is not accessible is one of them, and basically you use it as storage. There was 4 parking spots required for the old house.
What we're saying is Elizabeth has an ordinance that does not permit you to cover the entire site with coverage, asphalt, pavers, or building. So they limit, so you have to have some form of green space.
Oh, there is.
No, what I'm saying is, there's a requirement, there's a known requirement of 20% green space.
Okay.
I have no way of calculating that, because nothing was submitted, not even a small plan. Mr. Zender could have gave me a small plan and calculated, is there a variance involved in this? There's no plan.
We also have
can't-
pictures.
We cannot make.
Pictures are
them
not
up.
the answer. We need to see a plan. Mr. Zender has to give you a plan showing us that property and what building is where, how big are they?
That's correct.
How much space do they take up? If you meet the ordinance, then we can talk about this. If you don't meet the ordinance, then you have a variance. And that means you have to come and have a hearing, and you have to explain to us the variance and get an approval of that variance. So it's not as simple as this. Whoever gave you this advice that it's as simple as submitting a letter, it's not as simple as that. And I'm not sure, Victor, as far as the seepage pit, is that an option? Yes or no?
That was a requirement in the approval, so if he wants, if this applicant wants to deviate from any requirement, they have to come before the board. Only we make that a requirement only to hold back to the city sewer is, over 100 years old, most of the city, so it doesn't become taxed. We can waive that, but we don't normally waive that requirement just because someone says so. Normally, we ask for a letter from the architect and that the soil was tested or witnessed that it's very clay. Well, we don't give approvals on hearsay. And Mr. Zender, who's also a professional engineer, and he's a very good architect and engineer, can give us a letter. There is no letter saying that it doesn't perk. So every applicant in Elizabeth was required to put these pits in. You're asking that to be removed, so that's something we have to discuss.
Can I
Yes.
make a motion to have this,
Just one second. Is there any more discussion on this?
can I make a motion to have this table to give the applicant an opportunity to speak to his architect, so that his architect can speak to our city planner, so that this can properly be presented to our board?
I mean, the letter Mr. Zender said is formally approved by Harbor Consultants and Construction Departments. Informally is a wonderful thing, but there is a formal process, and we've got to follow that formal process, okay? So, when's our next meeting? Our next meeting is October the 3rd. If you have the ability to get to Mr. Zender, get a plan, get him to do the right thing, then you can come back here on October 3rd. And if not October 3rd, the November meeting, there'll be no prejudice, there'll be no notices, nothing required. It will just reappear, but it will be a more formal hearing. Mr. Zender may have to come to explain that. Okay. Thank you. Do you have any questions? Ms. Carvalho would be happy to talk to you at the construction department. Okay. Do we need to vote the tabling? Yes, we do.
She made a motion.
She made a motion, seconded by Councilman Goldman. May you call the roll?
Chairman Haas.
Aye.
Commissioner Moreno? Commissioner Rivera? Commissioner Nunes? Commissioner Carvalho? Aye. And Councilman Gallman?
So moved. P14. Thank you. We can get there. It's only 8:30. Time flies when you have fun, right? So am I. P14, 12, 917, 931 South Elmora Avenue, Yacov Schvartsman. Mr. Vincent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Please get everybody.
You need your guys. Are those the guys making all the noise out there? Yes.
No, it wasn't us.
Car wash matter, yes.
Witnesses there.
Witness will be here, you can sit there.
You are.
Yes.
Lisa John from Genova Burns.
You want to sit at the head of the table so you can hear everything?
Sure.
What's your name, ma'am?
Lisa John?
J-O-H-N?
Yes.
Please can have a seat. Gentlemen, you're next up.
Counsel, your appearance for the record, please.
Yes, Mark Vincent on behalf of the applicant.
Lisa John is here on behalf of...
The objector.
Before we begin, Mr. Thatcher?
Yes.
We're having both tonight.
So we'll get, okay, sorry about that.
That's right. What right? Yes, this is a continued public hearing on our
Oh, wait,
car wash.
before you begin, I have two commissioners who need to testify that they have read the transcripts. Ms. Nunes?
I have, but I have read
And they'll sign the appropriate affidavits at the appropriate.
Right, the appropriate time. We don't have a copy of the affidavits here. That's why I want to read it into the record.
Thank you for that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Again, this is a continued public hearing. Last time we were here, our traffic engineer testified, and there was much back and forth about that. I understand that since then, what we have done is we have submitted a revised plan in response to the hardware consultant letter of July 29, I believe, to address all the comments contained therein. And also, so those revised plans were submitted. We've also, since that last meeting, had a preliminary meeting with the NJDOT, which was suggested by the board, and the minutes from that meeting have been submitted. We've also submitted updated letters from our trash company, which we will get into detail on. Basically, they will be picking up trash between 7 and 8 a.m. rather than the other times specified, because the applicant is stipulating that we will open at 8 a.m. Therefore, they will not be coming when there's any business going on at the site, avoiding any conflict with customers or anything like that. Also, we have submitted a letter that our supplies we will be able to pick up by van at the Linden facility, and therefore we won't have to worry about trucks, delivery trucks coming in. Okay? I also did submit, per the request of the board, the specifications of our vacuum system, and I also submitted a letter from my office to accompany the revised plans addressing the points of Mr. Vinegar's letter. And so we are here tonight. One of the things that did occur in the last meeting, I understand Mr. O'Connor covered for me, I did read the transcript myself. There was some discussion about just the number of employees and seemed to be some confusion. So I have Mr. Schwartzman back here tonight just to clarify the number. We have set forth that it is 7. He will explain where they are, who they are, just to clear up any confusion that might exist on the number of employees. So if I could, he was previously sworn, but if you wish to swear him again, that's fine also.
Bill? Stand up, please, raise your right hand. Do you do solemnly swear the testimony you're giving in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Have a seat, picture you
I
two.
do, Victor Vinegar, city planner.
State your name and spell your name, please, for the record. Yeah, you.
Yacov Schvartsman. Schvartsman. Yakov.
Your address, please.
339 Travis Avenue, TRAVIS, Staten Island, New York, 10314. Okay, Yacov, when a car first comes onto the site, the first place they stop, you have employees, correct? How many are at that first stop?
2.
And who are they?
They vacuum, bring the car inside, and that's it. To the truck.
And what about the ticket?
Yeah, the guy, one guy give a ticket away, vacuum, and they bring the car to the dock.
and they bring the car to the tunnel. On the inside of the building itself, how many employees are there?
One,
And who would that be?
the cashier.
At the end of the tunnel, how many employees do you have at that end?
I will have about 3.
And what are they, who are they, what do they do?
They going to pull out the car, wipe out, the guy would pull out the car, he's wiping inside car out, and the other 2 wipe outside. Wiping outside.
Now, those are the numbers for your busy days, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, that only adds up to 6. Who would be the 7th?
The 7 is a manager.
And on a slower day, what would your average employee number be?
About 5.
I just wanted to get the math correct for everybody. Now, the vacuum
Wait a
system.
minute, who's missing when the slower days? How did you get to 5? Who's missing? Who's missing? You enumerated 2, 1,
The
3.
cashier.
The cashier is not there on a slow day.
No, I got manager as a cashier.
Oh, that's one person.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So you went from
As a
7.
slow days, I didn't need so many.
Wait, you went from 7 to 5 by
Right.
taking the cashier out. Who else
Right.
is missing?
It's another to somebody else.
Somebody
that
else.
will out at the front.
These
At the
answers,
front.
these answers are.
At the exit, at the exit.
So
Somebody got it out.
It's gonna
At the
be,
end of
the car's
At
only,
the end of
the
the car, I have 2
car is only gonna be wiped down on one side.
by 2 people, like that. Kabisha, I want to ask you something. There is a equipment, the car will come out absolutely dry.
You said that before.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So, just to
So
clarify.
why are we wiping it down? It's
On
coming out
slow days,
absolutely dry.
you would not have a cashier and one of the other employees wouldn't be needed.
Right.
And in any of those days, the manager can step in wherever is needed, correct?
Yes.
Now, we had discussions about the vacuum, we submitted information about the vacuum system. There was a comment in the report about noise levels. Where will the vacuum equipment be located on the revised plan that we've submitted?
In the basement.
There will only be
In
hose.
the
In the
basement.
basement.
Where did this basement come from?
There is a basement.
There's been a basement in all the plans
Yes.
we've seen?
Yes,
Really?
yes.
How do you get there?
Stairs.
I don't see any on the plans.
It's in the floor plans.
I've looked at these plans, I don't see any.
Oh, good. Mr. Carpenter will point that out when he comes up. He's familiar with the plan. On the vacuum situation. So then, outside you'll simply have the hoses, none of the noise-making equipment.
There is some very light noise, the vacuum suction system, just the suction.
But the machinery,
See,
the compressors are all going to be...
There is no noise
inside.
in the machine.
It's like a central vacuum system now.
Yes.
Now, just please confirm for the board that you have changed your operating, do not open until 8 a.m., correct?
Yes.
And that's to accommodate trash pickup between 7 and 8?
7 days.
And that's the letter we submitted from Regional Industries that confirms that.
You submitted what?
From Regional Industries. And please also just confirm for the board that you will be picking up your supplies with a van from the Linden facility of Job Industries,
Job Industries,
which is
yes.
which letter we submitted.
Yes.
That's really all I had for
Joe and J.O.
Job, J-O-B-E. Industries.
One second. There was extensive questioning about the vacuums previous hearings. And this is a new location for the vacuum? It was a
Yes.
portable vacuums before, and now we've decided, but the basement's always been there, so.
Yes. The decision was made that if you had the vacuum equipment, the mechanics of it outside, they would raise a noise issue. By putting them in the building, we've alleviated that.
Okay, and the line of the basement seems awfully far away from where you're gonna be vacuuming the cars. So it's gonna be a very long hose from the basement?
Yes.
and will have some suction left by the time it gets to the car.
It wouldn't work, I don't think we'd have put it on there.
Well, you know, originally in the original review letter dated, the second review letter dated July 29, it really wasn't so much the vacuums. They can become quite noisy.
Right.
The question I had was with the drying equipment, because that is facing the residential property next door. And that's where item number 9 on page 5 of my review letter, under performance standards. The city has a performance standard, in fact, very similar to HUD's performance standards for decibel levels. And in my letter, item number 9, I'll read verbatim, page 5 of 6. The ordinance says from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., no continuous airborne of 65 decibels is permitted. Then I say the applicant must prove that the drying and vacuuming equipment meets these standards. If not, a variance is required. This office has performed some minor decibel level readings at 2 car washes. The levels admitted by the jet dryers are in the 75 decibel range at a 65-foot distance from the dryers. This level is considered normally unacceptable by HUD housing standards. So what I did was I went to not this site, but I went to 2 other car washes. And I'm not saying it's the same equipment. And I have done some decibel levels readings before for HUD projects, and we have to do continuous readings. And I after I taped off a distance similar from this building, and I measured decibel levels exceeding the city ordinance. So that's really what
The distance equal to the distance of the first residence?
65, yeah. I'll double check that right now. Yeah, 65 feet from the property line, yeah, so that's what I did. And, that was the question, and it's pretty plain in the letter, is the drying equipment, because that's the equipment that's facing the home.
And does that put, the 65 feet, does that put the school, any of the school buildings in the 65 feet?
No, it's the residential home next door.
But I'm saying, I'm looking at it from a different direction. The entrance is facing that way, and if you go up that little piece that sticks up toward the schools, are the schools within 65 feet? You have a ruler, can you?
No, what I'm saying is, but the schools are in this direction,
Correct.
and the sound is emanating, the door is open in this direction.
Okay.
So really, the sound is a wave, and as the sound wave approaches the residential home. That was the concern, is that the
Right.
drying.
There was also a comment in one of the city department reports that came out on the revised plan. The neighborhood services department had a comment.
Yes.
Must provide adequate exit doors from the car wash. Roll-up doors are not considered exit doors. Roll-up doors are not considered exit doors.
Well, actually, Mr. Chairman, there's a door at each end of the interior space where any person would be. The tunnel is not for people to be in.
But you have doors at the end of the tunnel.
They have, yes, the
Roll-up.
tunnel's closed, yes.
And that's where they're saying that's not considered to be, must provide adequate exit doors from the car wash area, not from the area where the pedestrian is walking through the office or the merchandise. It says very clearly from the car wash area, roll-up doors are not considered exit doors.
Okay, then we can put, there are doors, I know there are roll-up doors that you can have an actual door within the roll-up, so that when it's closed, you have a separate door.
Correct.
When they're open, we will comply with that.
So the question ranges, were any sound studies done of this type of equipment, of the drying equipment? That was my concern.
Okay, at this point, we do not have that. We will produce the specifications and have the empirical data provided to you to comply with that, because we have to comply. We will comply.
No, it's an ordinance requirement.
We have to comply. We're not asking for a variance on it.
And the reason I bring up HUD also, actually this ordinance mimics HUD's ordinance, and if you go to get a loan, and most of the loans are underwritten, if you go get a loan from HUD, when I have experience in this, I've seen loans denied because the sound levels exceed HUD's requirements. So HUD will not financially back you a loan for the purchase of the property. And our ordinance mimics that, so that's why it's in black.
It also mimics a state standard. State standard is the same.
But just so it's understood, at the end of the tunnel is not wide open space. There are plastic sheathing that comes down to keep, the main function is a noise
I'm
suppression.
sorry. I will put the sign on there somewhere.
We will get the information to verify that we'll absolutely comply with the ordinance. I don't know how old the equipment was that, you know, you.
Right, that state,
could
I
be-
don't know if it's the same equipment
you know.
or not, it's just, because of the proximity to a residential structure, is the concern.
Okay.
Commissioners, are there any questions for Mr. Schwartzman besides myself? Commissioners?
Well, I have one other question, based on his testimony tonight. I mean, I run a small business, and if I order a chair from Harbor Freight, and the truck comes in the 30-foot, I have no control on who delivers the chair to my office. I mean, if I order from a furniture company a chair, they don't show up in a van, they show up in a straight delivery truck. If you order a piece of equipment breaks on your machinery, how can you assure the municipality for perpetuity? It goes with the land, not the owner. That a SU-30 truck will never be utilizing the site.
It is impossible.
There
is nothing there to get the inner truck.
But say
there is the bearings and chain, that's all. That's the only thing to break.
Since you did testify to it,
yes.
How can you assure that a delivery company delivering a piece of equipment will not deliver the piece of equipment in a standard delivery truck?
The only delivery I will have when I build the car wash, that will.
Well, have is.
When we build the car wash. That's the only big delivery truck.
Now,
that's the only way, nothing
so
else.
if 5 years down the road, a piece of equipment, the machine never breaks.
Okay, but then we gotta close the business, close completely from the business, and rebuild it. No,
The small piece
the
breaks.
small thing I can bring it in my trunk. There is nothing there. I can show you, I can assure you, I can bring you, the people who do the car, they bring, but with the van, anything they want, because everything is parts.
Even an office chair? Because
The office chair I buy in IKEA, in a small box in the front.
for perpetuity?
I'm telling you, yes, that's the whole thing.
The dryers and washers? The dryers and washers? You have dryers for
Yes.
the towels and stuff like that?
Oh, this is not.
No, there is
Yes.
a washing machine. It's a small washing machine.
And that's being delivered in your car?
No, it's delivered before we start to do the car wash.
And if your business stays around for 10 years?
Yeah, then I
might
close
need a
the
new
car
one.
wash completely
Close the
for
car
2
wash
years,
completely.
or for 2 months, whatever.
To replace a
I
washing
exchange- Yes, not just the washing. We're gonna exchange everything, whatever is necessary. But at that time, we not operate the business. If we have to change something, we close the door.
Can I ask you a question? In front of your building, if I remember correctly, there is a fire lane. Correct? There's a fire lane. I believe it.
Yeah, there is a fire lane.
There is a fire lane. So if a UPS truck comes to deliver something to you, maybe your wife will order something and have it sent to you because she's not home. Where's the UPS truck stops in the fire lane or drives into you?
The UPS you cannot control.
You can't control a UPS?
No,
You can control everything else, apparently.
I do, but not UPS, I do.
A UPS truck would have the same problem it has in every other street.
Everywhere is the same. It comes-
So it'll either park in front of the building or pull in.
Or
Which
the
will
side
shut down-
street, come down Edgar, stop there, walk it around, like a mail truck or something. I don't know how Mr. Schwartzman can address what somebody might send him that he doesn't know.
Oh, but he
and-
just did.
No, things that he controls, he can control.
Mr. Vinegra said ordering a chair from an office company, order something from Staples, and a Staples truck pulls up.
What he orders, he controls, but it's what.
No, he
Your
doesn't.
example was someone
He really
doing
doesn't.
something. he
I
doesn't
order
know.
a box of paper from Staples, and it comes in a box truck, it comes in a six-wheeler. I have no control of that. It has to park in my parking lot to deliver me one box of paper. I have no control over that. He doesn't either.
Mr. Commissioner, I'm sorry, I never ordered anything from you.
Okay,
Whatever I needed,
congratulations.
I'm buying. I'm forward to buying.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I don't know why you're so upset about this.
Because you are testifying to everything we ask you It's easy, it's simple. It's not easy, it's not simple. We've sat here for 4 nights listening to this. It's not easy, it's not simple.
I have a question. On the days that you only have 5 staff, right? The slow day. How are you keeping the cashier and the private office safe? Like,
Excuse me?
how are you keeping the cashier? Because you're saying that you're getting rid of the cashier days, right? That's how you get down to 5 and only 2 people drawing the card
Right,
and 2 people in the front.
yes.
So there's no one to watch the cashier. How are you keeping that safe? Like what, you know,
The
what?
manager is gonna keep it.
But the manager.
Oh, no, 5 people, how will I keep the safe?
Cameras.
No. You said that there was no one gonna,
The cashier
earlier on
would,
you said
Yeah,
there was
right,
no
she
one
was
watching the
good.
cashier.
Right.
the manager was gonna be watching the
So the
cashier.
manager's just gonna be taking
Oh,
care of
yes,
the
of
whole,
course,
the
because
whole.
yeah, the manager usually take care of the car.
And when he's needed outside to wipe down a car, he'll go
If
outside.
it's necessary.
And the
yes.
cashier will, and the cash register will stand there.
No.
He's gonna take that with him.
The cash register, if they need it for a few minutes. So she's going for a few minutes, somebody gonna.
Money
take care.
disappears very fast in a few minutes. Yes, Commissioner.
Hi, I have a question. If by accident something happened to my car, it's the same situation after that.
Keep your voice up, please.
Okay, by accident something happened to my car. That means it's a big issue for me. That means I need to speak with the manager. When I speak with the manager, you cannot do another activity at that specific time. And you cannot control how much I am at that point and how long I need to speak with the manager if I have a new car. How do you control that situation if you don't have enough employment?
So that's why we have a manager to, look, I wanted to understand something. But it's not all the time busy, coverage. It's not all the time, every time. So there is always somebody can stand as a cashier or as a worker and come over to help you when you have accident. If God forbid somebody has an accident. Somebody always can help, not just supposed to be a manager.
Okay, you told me that not all the time is busy the car wash.
Of course not.
What about
I
the
wish.
summertime?
Summertime also not busy all the time.
Do you think no?
So it's not busy all the time. I
Do you
wish.
think during summertime it's not busy at all?
No, not busy at all. Some days you're busy, Friday, Saturday. The day like that is busy.
Sorry,
But
some days.
Some days like Friday, Saturday it's busy. But, you know, it's not all the time also. If they say it's gonna be rain tomorrow, nobody gonna wash vehicle today.
I'm not
Nobody
talking about
comes.
rain.
Tell
Thank
me.
you for answering.
Yes.
I have a question.
Sure.
Since we're talking about parking, right? I noticed that you have a total of 7 parking spaces. And then in this picture, for some reason, you have the handicap one all the way next to the trucking, all the way in the left-hand corner, the handicap parking spot. Why did you?
Our site plan, the planner will.
The planner will.
Oh,
He's
okay.
the lady, he's not the manager, it's.
Oh, okay, okay. I was just curious
Okay.
why the handicap was on the way.
Commissioners, any other questions for Mr. Schwartzman? Counselor, you have a question for Mr. Schwartzman?
Yes, Lisa John with the law firm Genova, Brennan, Stan, Tomasi, and Webster. I would like to just start with a point of order. Letters were submitted tonight, one from Job Industries and another from the Garbage Recycling Company, Regional Industries. There's nobody here to testify or that I can cross-examine as to the substance of these letters. So I would ask that the board not consider the substance of the letters in their consideration deliberation.
They are hearsay as well as the vacuum cleaner information. Unless somebody's here to testify to them, we can't accept them. We can look at them, but we can't accept them.
Well, you know, Mr. Chairman, if someone asks for the specifications of the vacuum equipment, we submit it. That's.
There are no specifications, you give us none. Specifications means 10 horsepower, order number such and such, and the price such and such. Does it make noise? How does it work? You know, I'm sure there's more information. That's specification. That's not specification. I know it costs $6,890. That's about all I know. But I will rule on this right now. I agree that Regional Industries and Joe, you want to have somebody here from Regional Industries? This is signed by a machine. I don't know who Mark Spallino is. and I don't know who Joe Beer is.
The applicant has made arrangements for things to be done in a manner which safely and efficiently uses the site, and then he gets written confirmation
And
from
when,
the...
and when the applicant...
Why would that not...
And when the
why-
applicant sells this property, if we approve this property, when the applicant sells this property, and the next owner decides to have trucks pull into the lot, the building's still there, the lot is still the way it is. He's gone.
But when an applicant stipulates something, for example...
He stipulates as far
trash
as it's
removal
with...
before opening hours, and that's in the resolution of approval. That stays with the property.
No, it doesn't. Next
It's a
owner can come...
condition, it's a condition of the
Excuse me,
approval.
the next owner can come in and say, I don't want Regional Industries to do this, I want somebody else to do it.
But what they can get, they have to get somebody who's gonna comply with the conditions of the resolution.
Counselor, is that
Yeah,
correct?
that's right. I think, in my mind, though, it's one thing for the applicant to testify to that, and we put that in the condition of approval. I don't know that it's evidential for the report to be submitted like this. I think it is hearsay. It requires some active testimony. I agree that I agree with putting. If we put a condition in the resolution that says that the trash will always be picked up between 7 and 8 a.m., that's a condition that will run with the land. And whomever they contract with will have to do that. That much I agree.
So even an affidavit...
But the condition of the
would not-
use that somebody has to now go to this place in Linden and pick up
No,
whatever,
no.
that doesn't work. And what happens if that company, Joe B, goes away?
Well, we wouldn't accept a condition.
Yeah.
We wouldn't accept a condition that would
All right.
only contract with
No,
the
a
company.
condition that
The council-
supplies would be delivered by nothing other than a van. That's a condition that
It's a condition that's acceptable in the resolution. The problem is it enforceable? That's the problem. We can put a condition in there that only people with blonde hair will go pick supplies, but it's gonna be awfully hard for the department to enforce that 5 years from now.
Correct.
But I agree with you that as to time of pickup, that's a condition that can go in the resolution and can be enforced by somebody easily.
Council?
Thank you. As far as the chemical deliveries that you testified to, what types of containers do they come in?
There is sometimes 5 gallons.
5 gallons?
Yeah, drying cage.
And how often are they coming to the site, or
All
you're
depends
picking
how
up?
many cars you washed.
So, well, your
Depends.
testimony was you could do 400 cars on a busy
Yeah,
day.
so it's take me like maybe twice a week, twice a month, the most.
Twice a month
But don't
with,
forget I diluted. The whole soap is and the wax and the other thing is diluted by the water.
So your
Like
testimony-
70 times could be 770 times diluted. From for 5 gallons I can get it like 3,500 gallons.
so with 10 gallons,
10 gallons. Sometimes.
you only need 2 deliveries.
Maybe, I'm not sure, but approximately 2 deliveries a month.
And that would
Approximately.
take care of all the cars that are coming through this car wash.
Yes, ma'am. I'm telling you again, don't take my, it's probably, if it's a busy, maybe 3 times a month. But I cannot guarantee it's gonna be 1, 2, or 3 times, but it's gonna deliver.
Right. And are you having any other types of deliveries that are going to be coming to the site other than your chemicals and potentially garbage
There
pickup?
is
as you said?
nothing else that I see.
So you testify that you're going to have an area where a customer could purchase an air freshener or maybe
Yes.
possibly a car mat.
Right.
How would those deliveries come to the
By
site?
van, only by van, nobody delivered by trucks, anything.
And what time would they be coming?
What time?
What time would they be coming to
When I
deliver?
ordered, I don't know what time. Maybe sometime I bring with myself.
Okay, but it could be outside of that 7 to 8 a.m. range.
Not definitely, but probably. I will try to arrange it.
Okay, and where would that van park while it drops off the goods?
When? Where? It's a planner gonna tell you the whole thing.
Where?
The planner, the engineer gonna tell you.
The engineer's going to
engineer
testify
gonna
as to operations at your site?
No, I have to read the operation the car, but where it's gonna park, the planner gonna tell you, answer this question.
But are you going to direct trucks to park in any particular
There is
spot?
no trucks will come over the truck.
The van, are you going to direct it to park in any particular location?
The vans?
Yes, the van.
I cannot direct it, they're not gonna come, I'm telling you again. The only delivery, I will have 2 deliveries, that's all. I got, I mean, bundle the garbage.
Right.
And delivery myself or by some of my employees, the chemicals.
And then-
together with the air fresheners and.
But then you'll have the air fresheners,
Yes,
you'll have
together
possibly
with the-
car mats, maybe
right.
Armor All, something
Yes,
like that.
yes,
That you
yes.
could purchase, but you can't control what time they're coming.
No, again, I'm telling you, I will deliver by myself. Not by myself, maybe some by my employee.
Just to clarify, the 7 to 8 a.m. stipulation was for trash removal.
For trash removal.
Trash removal only?
That's what we've arranged, trash removal between 7 or 8 a.m. so that it did not conflict with operating the business.
Okay, but there can,
He
I
didn't
think-
testify that 7 to 8 was for any and all deliveries.
okay, so deliveries could be coming at any time and that's not going to be restricted as a
There is
condition of
delivery not
approval?
gonna come anytime. I will control the delivery.
Okay.
No, he testified that he would be picking up
Yes.
supplies and bringing them in a
I
van.
will control the delivery.
That's
Supply
successful.
this.
Okay, there's also, I noticed on the plans, an area where it says that there's going to be offered coffees, rolls, cookies. How would those types of products come to the site?
Where did you see that? Where did you see that?
I can show you. A06 on the plans revised August 23rd, 2013. If you look at the first floor plan, it says merchandise display area, minor miscellaneous automobile items, coffees, rolls, cookies, and soft drinks.
So,
How would they get there? That's the question.
what?
What she just read down, you have it on your plan.
I will tell
coffee-
you that we were not aware that note was there. I don't know what.
Oh, come on.
I
You seem to be aware of everything else.
That note is,
Anyway, it's there, so it's not a big deal. The coffee machine and the coffee I buy at the store.
So you are going to be offering these goods on site?
I will, you know, to be honest, I didn't see that, I did not. I know nothing about it, but.
So you just for the record, so you testified on the slower days that you won't even have a manager on site. So is your
I will
cashier going to pick up the coffee and
No coffee, I'm telling you, no coffee, there is no coffee.
no rolls, no
coffee
cookies,
whatsoever,
no
nothing,
soft drinks?
nothing, no.
5 minutes ago there were, now they're not.
No, if it's, but I don't know why it's there.
Mr. Chairman, honestly, we thought that had been deleted some time ago at
Mr.
one of the
Vincent.
prior hearings.
Mr. Vincent.
It was
Testified.
deleted, yes.
Mr. Vincent, he testified the first time, or the second time, or the third time that he was going to have merchandise there to sell. Now all of a sudden there's no merchandise. I'm beginning to hear whatever he thinks we want to hear is coming out of his mouth. And I'm getting tired.
It's not a question of that.
I'm
Chairman.
getting
It's a question of
tired.
addressing the concerns of the board.
I'm calling an adjournment right now, he says.
When you, I'm gonna get the planner started, is the other one more than an hour?
Yes.
Well, I think, this is our fourth time here, Mr. Chairman. and
They've
we're
been adjourned a
prepared.
couple of times because of your presence.
I can't take full credit for that, though. The fact that we have a competitor objecting has made this.
Sit down and let's get going, please. 9:30.
Mr. Stager, please.
I'm not
Oh,
finished
you're
with
not
the witness. If he,
Mr. Schwartzman.
He's here.
Oh, he's here.
so Mr. Schwartzman, these plans have been revised. Can you tell me where a patron that's coming to use the car wash facility is going to exit their vehicle?
Excuse me?
Can you tell me when somebody pulls up, where they're going to receive a ticket to go inside the car wash and exit their vehicle?
When?
Yeah, where? Where on the site?
Go to the car wash. There is, I'm sorry. You come over here, receive the ticket and the guy,
I can't hear this.
okay. The car pull over here and then the vacuum and bring the car inside to the
For
tunnel.
the record, Mr. Schwartzman is pointing to the area that states do not block this area where the car will pull up and receive its ticket. So Mr. Schwartzman,
Yes.
there's an area on the plans that states vacuum cleaning area.
Right.
Would they be getting out of the vehicle there?
Yes, they can go to get out from the vehicle, go inside,
Okay,
and
wait,
then my guy bring the car
Hold on,
inside.
so they're gonna get out here, where it
Yes.
said vacuum cleaning area?
Right, yes.
Okay, now where are they gonna receive the ticket for the type of service that they're receiving?
My guy come over here and give him the ticket.
And where is the machine where the ticket generates from? Where is that
Over
going to
here,
be located?
right here. He's gonna come over here.
Can you describe what this is?
He's describing
Yes.
the car wash entrance
Right
is
here.
where the ticket machine is
No,
going
there
to
is a
be.
machine over here. There is a, it's a, you know, let me tell you. It's a flexible hose. It's moving. Here or there, doesn't matter. Okay, it's gonna be somewhere over here. I'm not familiar with the plans.
So he's...
It's
so-
adjustable. Let me tell you, it's adjustable. You know, when the car coming in, we'll see. When we open, first open, we're gonna
I'm
adjust.
sorry,
it.
I
You know?
can't hear you.
When we open the car wash, we're gonna be adjusted. Where it's gonna be, here or there, I don't know yet.
Okay, so the area, just for the record, that Mr. Schwartzman is pointing to
Yes.
is the area on A02 of the plan, in between where it's showing a car pulling up in the queue and the vacuum and cleaning area where there's also another car
Right.
delineated.
No,
So the
this-
machine is going to be on virtually this dotted line,
There
is that
no
correct?
machine. I'm sure.
What is
kind
it?
of machine? It's a small computer with button. that's
Okay,
it.
so the computer is going to be
Right.
located at,
Here or there, I'm not sure yet right now. It's here or here. I don't know yet, I'm not sure yet.
and
Right.
it's movable, but it's
We
going
gotta
to be...
move, we got a vacuum car, then bring the car, give him through the windows.
Right,
To
so
the guy,
it's
yes.
going to be located on the left-hand side of where it says vacuum cleaning
Right,
area.
yes.
Yes, okay. And that's where the person is going to exit the vehicle, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then can you just describe to me how they'll enter the car wash facility? Where the person will go into where the cashier is. Can you just describe that for me?
Yeah, either he'll go this way or this way, go inside. Probably over here.
Okay, so he's
Yes.
going to go from where this vacuum cleaning area
Right,
is.
yes.
He's going to cross over the do not block this area.
No, not over here like this.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
walk
he'll
over
go over into this
Right,
this
yes.
drive aisle
here. Right,
and walk in front of the car
yeah,
and then walk into the entrance.
yes,
That's where he's going to go.
yeah, so,
Okay. And then, once you get inside, okay, so you testify that,
what did you try to prove, tell me?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm just trying to figure out the
Yes.
pedestrian circulation on this site, is why I'm asking the question.
Sure, go ahead.
So you described it for me though, you told me they're gonna walk in front of the car, they're
Yeah,
gonna walk in front of the car wash entrance,
right, yeah.
and then they're going to enter,
Yeah, or they go behind
The
the
building.
car, I'm not sure yet, or they go behind the car, or this will be adjusted when God willing we open the business. It's going to be adjusted, everything, you know, it's a no new business.
okay.
And we have professionals who design this for certain, and they can justify and explain the layout and how, what those cards indicate on the plan. That's done by professionals, and you'll have a chance to ask them those types of questions.
But the man who's testifying now is testifying with regard to operations, and he's the one that's gonna be there on a daily basis, making sure that the facility is running the way that it's being testified to in front of the court.
Yes, but you keep pointing to things that an engineer put on a plan and which may not relate to his expertise. Like if they drew a car, does that mean there's one there? No. And I think it's just difficult when you start pointing out things on a site plan that an engineer places in accordance with established practices and expect an operator of a car wash to be able to justify the engineering placement of a certain
All
equipment.
right, well, I think we understand the issue. We understand both.
I'll move on. I think
Go
it's
ahead,
stated for the record
please.
how they'll answer. Okay, you previously, can you tell me how many cars, the area for the drying, how many cars can that accommodate?
The area of the dry,
Mm-hmm.
as many as they come,
It can be as many as they come.
yes,
But you're only going to have 2 employees dedicated to drying the vehicles,
Yes.
is that correct?
yes, it is correct, yes.
But you could have maybe 5 cars out here.
Where?
Out here in the drying area.
Where is the drying area?
You
You
show
know where is
me.
the drying area? You show me. But you say, it's over here. The car come out, it's coming nice, dry and clean, and it just wipes, you know, just make sure the car is come out nice and beautiful. That's
Are
all.
you offering full service at your?
Yes, it is full
Okay.
service, yes.
So then somebody would have to get in the car to clean the windows?
Yeah, the guy who driving the car out, I just testified about it.
So,
The car who driving out, he wiping inside. Wiping, just not cleaning, wiping.
so he's going to be able to, I think you
Yes.
previously said that inside accommodates 3 or 5 vehicles?
Yeah.
Is it- Okay, so this one man is going to be able to get in the car in order to move it to the drying area. And then also wipe down the cars at the same
moved?
time?
What, I don't understand what you're talking about.
You told me that somebody's going to take the car
Yeah.
as it's exiting,
Right.
okay? So that man is going to take the car and move it outside.
Yeah, move it just outside
Move it
and
again.
the customer come pick up the car.
I'm sorry, would you come over here and sit so I
Yeah,
can
but she
hear
asked
you?
me, yeah, you know. Yes.
Now
And
what's
then-
your answer?
I said that the driver, the worker, the employee, pick up the car, drive out. You know, it's like 5-10 feet, whatever, and the customer come pick up the car. That's it.
But that same man is also going to be the man that is wiping down the car?
Yes, wiping, just wipe out the dashboard. That's all. Just the dashboard, wipe out and the window. That's all.
And
It's not wipe out anything inside. The guy who's outside, they wiping out inside, outside.
But the
car come
area,
out beautiful, dry, nice and clean.
so at any time though, your prior testimony was you will only have 2 people wiping down vehicles?
It's only on the slow days, yes. Only on the slow days. In the busy days, we have 3.
On the busy days, you have 3 people wiping down vehicles?
Yes.
Okay, so that changes the testimony, now there's 8
No, he said
employees.
that earlier. He said on the busy days you'd have 3 people wiping. He said that.
3 people wiping
He said
down,
it earlier tonight.
3 people at the end of the tunnel, I believe was the correct way of it.
well, I'm sorry, counsel, but I'm asking the
I
witness.
understand. I thought you might have misheard.
But I did testify already, I said so.
I don't understand, I don't know how many, you're gonna have how many people to wipe down the vehicle?
When? In the busy
On your
day or
busy
slow
day, on your busy
3
day.
days, 3 people.
3 people, and you're gonna have a person to pull out the car?
It's including 3 people. Some of them gonna pull out the car.
3 people,
Yes.
okay. And then also, the blowers. You
Yes.
said that, you know, I guess these are going to be heavy-duty blowers because the cars are going to come out clean,
Absolutely, yes.
right? So have you submitted to the board any specifications for these
I'm
blowers?
not engineer, but definitely we're gonna put a cylinders, a special cylinders designed for the blowers.
We already stipulated we would be submitting that information.
Okay, is that going to be done before the board
Just
considers
takes
the
our time,
application?
that's it, you know.
Yes.
Since they're sending us on the 9:30,
Yeah,
yes.
plus the plastic. you know, we have
The
down-
blowers are the same thing as the dryers that we were discussing before, is that
Yes,
right?
it is.
Okay, so we've already agreed they're going to submit a spec on that.
Okay.
With decibel ratings, please.
Certainly.
And then, just as far as, I was unclear, I read the transcripts of the hearing, but I was unclear, are you providing detailing at this
No, I
location
don't
or not?
provide
No detailing?
No
So you would be okay if the
There was earlier
board,
testimony in one of the earlier hearings that said you were providing details
Only in the rainy days.
only on the rainy day.
Yes, only by appointment only and only in the rainy
And
days.
the appointments are made on a nice day, assuming that tomorrow's
If they
gonna be
want it,
rainy.
we gotta, we gotta make sure that it's a rainy days. They're gonna come, we'll do
And
it.
somebody's
We're
gonna
not
spend $150 to have
I'm
their
not,
car detailed and drive out into the rain.
Your Honor, I'm not interested in that. I'm just telling you.
So-
Only in the rain. Somebody wants to come in the rainy days, we'll do that.
so you will provide detailing on rainy days?
Yes,
And where will the detailing operations occur?
inside the tunnel.
Inside the tunnel itself?
Right.
Okay, and then where will the cars be parked when the owner of the car, before the owner of the car gets there to pick it up?
What kind of car? The car is inside in the tunnel. All the equipment are retractable, and it stays in the tunnel.
The car stays in the tunnel?
Yes, until the owner comes to pick it up.
Okay, so how many cars could you possibly detail on the site at one time?
2, the most is 2, 3,
2.
maximum 3.
Okay.
Maximum.
And how would somebody make an appointment for that?
Excuse me?
If somebody wanted to make an appointment to have their
Yes.
car detailed, how would they do
So they
that?
come to cashier and some of the employees,
Okay.
and they will tell in the rainy days, please come over.
And
in the
where-
rainy days only.
When the person comes to make the appointment, where would you park?
No, it's only customer. You know who does it? The customer comes to the car wash. They ask you, do we do detailing?
Right.
We tell them only in the rainy days.
Okay. And where would that customer park when he?
The car is washing the car. Nobody comes for detailing.
Okay, but where would that customer who's making an appointment for the detailing park his vehicle?
I'm telling you again, there is no parking for you. He's gonna come to do the detailing. We're gonna do detailing.
He's going to pull into the tunnel, is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
pull the tunnel.
Oh,
yes.
he's going to pull directly into the tunnel?
Sure.
Okay. And then he's going to wait as the car is being detailed?
It's up to him.
How long does it typically take to detail a car?
It all depends what kind.
But you can do a very thorough detailing where you do the engine and everything else inside, is that
We
correct?
don't do engine. No engine. Just maybe shampoo or compound. That's it.
But
Or waxing.
typically, how long would it take to detail a vehicle?
It all depends how dirty the car, how old the car, how it's a new car, it's go 1 to 3, take maybe 40 minutes, 50 minutes.
Okay, your experience, if it's a very dirty car, an older vehicle,
We
how long
don't
would
do
it take?
that. We don't do on a very dirty car. We don't do that
Oh, you don't?
because it's not necessary to do it. It should be the paint job.
Do you have to do a paint job? You do paint?
No, we don't do
service?
the paint job. I said that we suggest it to go ahead and do the painting. We will suggest the It's a very old car. It's no reason to do detailing on the top of the car. Shampoo, yes, but not the compound.
Okay, and the equipment you said to do this detailing is inside of the tunnel?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And how many workers does it take to detail cars?
Two, the most two. One or two, the most is two.
And the products that you're using at the car wash and the detailing operation, where would they be stored or located?
In the basement.
In the basement?
Yes.
Is that shown on the plans, the storage area?
Yes.
It is?
Yes, yes. Take a look.
I don't see it.
There's no sheet on the basement. There's no sheet on the basement.
You testified in your prior testimony that, you had concern of the small children crossing the front entrance.
Forget about it. They said it's not working here. It's not working in New Jersey.
I'm not speaking about the island. I'm speaking about your prior testimony. You said that you'll have somebody specifically that will be used as your crossing guard to cross these kids.
This has gone so far beyond the scope of the testimony this evening.
Well, this goes to, he
It's the second bite
testified,
of the apple.
no, you testified tonight about employees. And I'm just trying to clarify the testimony that was provided today. So now there's not going to be a person crossing children in front of the access
I don't
drive.
believe there's any direct testimony tonight on that subject.
There wasn't one of the prior hearings.
No, it's prior hearings, but you had an opportunity to cross them at the prior
Yeah, the
hearing.
prior hearings, there was cross done.
Right, but he changed his count now on the employees.
No, it's always been set.
Well, then who is the crossing guard?
There was testimony in previous hearing, the question was asked, and he testified to the fact that it wasn't going to happen. I will stand up with that.
Okay, then that's fine.
There
So
is
then
no crossing guard.
There
because
isn't
that-
an additional person.
We will not permit that.
Okay. Okay, I don't think I have any further questions.
Mr. Vincent, do you have any further questions?
No, I do not.
Call your next witness.
Mr. Stager, please.
Thank you. Mr. Steiger was previously sworn at one of the hearings, and your licenses are still in order, so we will be glad to recognize you still as a competent witness.
Whether you'll still be competent when this hearing is over is a matter of debate.
Mr. Vincent.
Joseph Steiger, S-T-A-I-G-A-R.
Mr. Steiger has previously testified before this board and been qualified. Mr. Steiger, since we were last here and you last testified, what has transpired with regard to New Jersey Department of Transportation?
I have requested and obtained a pre-application meeting with DOT to discuss the access and the potential for the ability to obtain a access driveway permit from DOT. And we met with the DOT on August 13th, 2013, representatives of the Bureau of Major Access Permits, as well as traffic engineering and safety.
And what was the result of that meeting?
Well, I prepared a minutes of the meeting, and I'll paraphrase the 5 points that are in the minutes of the meeting. Typically, what DOT requests is after we have a meeting with them to prepare minutes of the meeting such as this, so that there's some memorialization or some record of what
They don't prepare minutes?
No. They asked us to prepare it, and then
saving money.
Or being able to do something else. We'll put it that way. And then we give them the opportunity to amend them if needed. But in this case, there was an email from Joshua Idawa of the JDOT stating that I-D-O-W-A. He was one of the attendants of the meeting, that the minutes were indeed correct. The point number 1 of the minutes was that this would be a minor access driveway permit. Mr. Nunez, Gabriel Nunez, N-U-N-E-Z,
of the North Regional Office permits was not at the meeting. It was held down in Trenton. He's up in Mount Arlington. But he would actually be filing, we would be filing the application with him. And we certainly sent these comments of the minutes of the meeting to him to let him advise of what transpired at the meeting. Point number 2 was there would be a decrease in the number of access points and turning movements on the state highway. The 2 existing full movement driveways to a 1 driveway with a left turn exit restriction, and the DOT deemed that this was a significant enhancement to the operation of the highway access points. Number 3, while the existing alternative access on Edgar Road would be removed, the benefits of this driveway closure to the safety afforded to the school children of the nearby elementary school is recognized. DOT basically looks at their roadway. They don't, I won't say they don't care what happens off the highway, but they always like to see alternative access. They love to see cars going in and out on side streets, county roads, and not their state highway. In this case, what we're doing is we are removing an existing driveway on Edgar Road. We're closing it, something the DOT does not like. In this case, we've explained where the school was located, that the closure of that driveway would be a safety enhancement to the school children. They recognize that. And the fact that this would be a minor permit application, which is related to the amount of traffic that's generated by this, by the car wash, doesn't exceed the limits of the trip generation that would classify it as a major application. And the enhancements that we are doing, we're closing a full movement driveway and restricting the left turn exits at the other remaining driveway. They felt that that was a good balance in terms of adding a safety aspect to their state highway. The 4th item, we talked about the proposed island. We tried to design the driveway so that there was a, we call it the pork chop island. Not force, but certainly give the intention to have people make a right turn at your request. We put that island in. The DOT did not like the size of the island. Some of the reasons that Mr. Antunes pointed out, that it can't be designed in order to accommodate the proper area. You don't want to, what happens is you have only a small island. It'll be a little teardrop island. It won't be a pork chop, it'll be a teardrop. And also to have handicap accessibility, you actually got to put a 4-foot wide sidewalk through that island. So you wind up with 2 little lumps of concrete right in the sidewalk area. It becomes a tripping hazard, becomes a danger in that sense. They recommended and strongly suggested that you do not put a raised island there. And that they said that the signage, the no left turn signs would be sufficient. They could be on our property, faced in our driveway. They could also be on the opposite side of the driveway, on the southerly side of South Elmora Avenue. I suggested, well, then maybe we can at least paint an island to give the indication, and they certainly felt that would be satisfactory, as it would not be a safety hazard. And then the last issue that we discussed at the meeting, well, just overall, the DOT did not express any major concern over the implementation of the proposed development. It was a very short meeting with them. They liked the plans, and we discussed it, those few items, and we adjourned, and we went away.
Mr. Steiger, in the process of this hearing, did they have an opportunity to look at the circulation plan?
Yes.
On the property?
The entire plan, yes.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
On A002, the car that's in the alternate lane that's right before the do not block this area?
Yes.
How in heavens is that going to turn into a driveway for the car wash?
Oh, the intention of that car, showing that car there, is to show that it can circulate around the building if it wants to exit the building. That's just showing that if the cars line up.
Wait a minute, the last time testimony was given to us that this lane was to merge in to get into the car wash. Now we've changed the use of that lane?
No, I think the testimony was that in the event there was any need for any stacking on the site, we're not going to allow for any stacking onto the highway. that we
Correct.
had
That
the
was a
ability-
stacking lane where you were gonna merge in and out, so that the car in the stacking lane would go, and then a car in the regular lane would go, and then a car in the stacking lane would go. That was the testimony that was given the last time. Now you're saying this is now an alternate way to get around?
It's always been a bypass lane. And what's shown on the diagram is a car bypassing the stacked vehicles that want to get into the tunnel. This is a car that's entered the site or parked in one of the parking spaces and is able to circulate.
So that car's not there to be cleaned?
Correct. It's just an illustration of how the circulation. The reason why we've had the do not block this area is so that we have that ability to circulate around the building. That's the only reason why we show that do not block this area. So that vehicle that you just pointed to, Mr. Chairman, can now exit out the site in a counterclockwise direction.
So am I assuming there is a new circulation going here?
This is a revised plan.
There's a revised plan, that's a revised plan, Mr. Chairman.
I'm saying, so is there a new circulation going? Is this it?
I would say these plans do show the new circulation pattern.
Slight modification, all of them.
And that was in response to Mr. Renegar's comments and the concerns expressed by the board.
Okay, based on that new plan, Steiger, the vacuum cleaning area is here, and the operator said that the hoses will come from the basement to the building. So there will be hoses crossing the driveway.
Underground.
My understanding they'll be underground to get to that opposite side. They're not going to be crossing the driveway here at grade.
There's the outlets shown on the plan of where the outlets for the...
And there's nothing shown on any of the plan, even with the one, since there's no basement illustration as to where this vacuum cleaner will be in the basement. And the question is, how far away will that hose running underground have to run?
On the sheet A06 that I'm looking at, it does have a notation of vacuum cleaner equipment in the basement.
Yeah, it has a notation, vacuum cleaner.
And it shows the location in the basement.
Where does it show the location?
The floor plan for the basement. If you look-
A06.
A06.
Oh, here.
Lower left corner is the basement floor plan, which shows vacuum cleaner equipment area.
Okay.
And that
The
basement has been
question, the question
shown.
then would be, what's the distance from where that vacuum cleaner is to where these are? Where the hoses come out? And they are gonna run underground? I said it facetiously, they are gonna run underground?
Yes, the plan shows that there are going to be outlets on the...
Coming up from the
On
ground?
the stack lane.
Okay.
That you plug in your hose to, like a home.
And may I
Central
ask a
back
question, if something happens to either of the hoses, will you dig up the driveway to get to them?
I would imagine they'd have to be installed.
Mr. Schwartzman, I'm not talking to you now.
I would imagine they have to be designed in a way that they're maintainable.
Mr. Chairman, I have a brief question, Mr. Schwartzman. You testified before...
No. Save the question. If you want to pull him back, we'll pull him back.
This is related to the traffic stop.
Then answer the traffic.
Well, there's something that he testified before about operations, though. The ability to speed up the washing, the
Car wash.
The car wash. And how many, he testified earlier about the ability to increase the speed so we have less cars in the queue.
Correct. That was our first meeting.
Yeah,
Most of it.
what was the speed? Do you remember?
But the testimony was that our peak was going to be, Joe knows,
Yes,
he worked it into his calculation.
The normal speed is 30 cars per hour, so one car would be 2 minutes. But it can be speeded up to 100 cars per hour. And will it ever achieve that? No. But it can be dialed up to 40 cars an hour, 50 cars an hour, something like that.
Gentlemen,
And when you reviewed, you also had a peak number, right? The average, like an average of 30, but the max was going to be something like 40, if I'm not mistaken.
40, correct.
Anticipated as the maximum that would be necessary to run it at, was the prior testimony.
Any other questions for Mr. Steiger? Councilor?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I think some of the confusion here, based on the prior testimony and what's being testified today, is that revised plans, last revised August 23rd, 2013, were submitted to the board. The preparer of the plans has not come forward yet this evening to testify as to the changes that have been made since the last time they appeared and testified with regard to the site layout, circulation, and such. Are you planning on?
We haven't gotten there yet.
We would hope to get to that tonight.
But we aren't. But this is our
But
planner.
now Mr. Steiger is testifying to changes that haven't been shown or discussed before the
They've been
board.
submitted properly before the board 10 days before a hearing. He's certainly allowed to testify as to changes that were implemented at DOT recommendation.
They're going to be calling you.
It just seems out of order to me.
Yes, he's not in the country right now. But we have our planner who also was involved in designing the site, who I was planning this evening to go through Mr. Venego's letter point by point to show what we've done in response to his comments.
I'll go on. Mr. Steiger, you said that the meeting that you had with DOT occurred on August 13th, is that correct?
I'd have to check my calendar. The date of my minutes of my meeting indicate that. That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
While you're asking, I'll check my calendar.
Okay, so it was either August 13th or prior thereto, since these are the
Yes,
minutes from that meeting.
correct.
And the last revised plans that were presented to the board are dated August 23rd, 2013. Was the plans that are dated August 23rd the plans that were presented to DOT for their consideration?
No.
Okay, so DOT hasn't seen the current version of the site plans.
No. But when we make our application, they will. For a version, subsequent version to this.
And your prior testimony, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, was that you thought that the pork chop island that was proposed by the applicant previously would be DOT compliant, they would accept it.
I was mistaken.
So that's changed.
Yes.
And then also, did you say, I might have missed it, that DOT had submitted a letter or sent a letter saying that the minutes of the meeting were accurate, that you prepared?
I have an email from Joshua Idawa to Gabriel Nunez saying, here are the minutes of the meeting and they represent to our satisfaction what transpired. And I'll be happy to provide that to the
And Mr. Nunez, can you describe what his role is at DOT?
He would be the case manager implementing the processing of the permit.
But you didn't meet with him at your meeting with DOT?
No.
I have no further questions.
Another witness?
Yes, Mr. Carpenter.
Counsel, you have witnesses too. How many witnesses?
I have one brief question of Mr. Steiger.
Steiger?
Steiger, did you do any gap analysis?
No.
So you didn't go, do you feel, there's an issue here because this is a busy roadway, and when the light turns green, gap analysis is critical, because there's no, even though it could satisfy DOT requirements as far as roadway volume capacities, if there's no gap times to get the cars out, they
As
back
far
up.
as roadway what?
If they're, my concern are the gap times, the gap capacity of the roadway. If the light is green during peak hour traffic, say after work in a summer day, there may be very minimal gap times exiting the facility. So you'd have to almost wait for the light to turn red to exit the facility. So that also causes a backlog within the facility itself. So I think that's an important aspect. And it has
Mr. Steiger, did you look at that?
Yeah, I did. Well, I did look at that, and Mr. Benega's right. It was Bruce Klein, your traffic consultant from T&M, mentioned what was the stack, particularly from Lidgerwood Avenue, and how would that affect the ability for vehicles to make a right turn exiting the site? Because Mr. Benega's correct. If there's a stack across that driveway, then cars can't get out. And on the other hand, cars can't get in either. If everything is locked up and stacked up on South Elmora Avenue, cars can't get out, then cars are not moving in order to get in either. I mean, there's other cars on South Elmora Avenue that are going other places other than this car wash, so they will shut down the entrance as well. Essentially, when you have that gridlock condition, when the light turns at Ligerwood turns red, stacks across the driveway, which I have seen, the exits can't work and the entrances don't work.
So I'm not so much worried about queuing, killing it. I'm also worried about there's limited gaps between the cars that are flowing. So if there's a full...
Even when the light turns green.
Well, so there's a full complement of cars within the facility, and the light is green, the cars as they come out, no gap time, you can't pull out. I mean, I have that difficulty at my office located on the state highway.
It's a difficult
That's something that
it's a
should
difficult
be-
corner.
Okay.
You've seen it, so you know, it's a difficult corner.
Yeah.
There's something that should be studied, is the gap capacity of this roadway and the exit driveway.
And that's something we can do.
Before you call your next witness, I need to take a 5-minute recess to speak to the other applicant because I am going to continue your hearing because I'm hoping that we can finish with all the witnesses tonight. Okay. Mr. Batchelor?
I'm going down the hall.
We're taking a 5-minute break. We're 1109 Neck Lane, Rosemount Memorial Park. Mr. Batcha is the attorney, and we are going to adjourn without any further prejudice to the next meeting, which is scheduled on October 3rd. And we will sit down with you guys in between and try to work out all the details of the problems that we might be having.
Thank you very much, and could we also be the first on that agenda?
I'd never swear to anything. These folks may be there yet, but maybe we'll put you up
Thank
first.
you.
If we
Good
can
luck.
resolve all the problems, we'll get you done.
Thank you.
Can't guarantee it. Okay, Mr. Vincent, you're back up. Thank you.
Yes, during the recess, Mr. Steiger, in response to Mr. Renegro's question about gap analysis, did revisit his report and noted that he did in fact have that, so if you want to
Well,
just...
he said he did, so do you want to give us a quick update on that?
On figure 5 and subsequent sheets, there are level service calculations. These take into consider gaps in a computerized manner, model manner. We have level service B and C being able to make that right turn. Those are good levels of service, indicate time delays of somewhere between 10 to maybe 30 seconds. So that certainly has a higher level than the exiting movements that are coming out of the car wash. You can process the vehicles out the driveway faster than the car wash exits will occur.
My concern is were actual field measurements taken through the gap times. You can time a gap.
Mr. Steiger, you have an answer?
No, these are, as I said, these are mechanic cars. We know how many cars are passing on South Elmora Avenue. We know how many cars are exiting. That gives us a level of service. I think what Victor is asking...
What was your level of service by?
B and C, getting out of that driveway.
Even when the light was red, it's belligerent.
Well, it's going to be some people are going to hit the red light and the stacking. Some will hit when it's green. I think what Mr. Vinegra is saying is that you can sit at that driveway location actual time gaps. It takes 5.5 seconds to make a right-hand turn.
It depends on the driver.
And it depends on the driver as well.
I sat behind someone tonight who couldn't make a right on the red.
No, I mean, you're looking for that.
I read the sign.
Like at the peak times for the car washes, maybe Friday afternoon. We're not asking that the applicant sit there all day and time gaps, but you want to make sure that there's proper gap time, because that does affect how many vehicles end up in the drying area.
We take that into consideration. Let's move on.
Can I just for the record, the date of the report that you're referring to, can you just state what that is?
March 30th, 2013.
Okay, so that was before the latest set of site plans were submitted to the board?
Correct.
And at that time, you were proposing a no left turn into the site?
You're still proposing a no left turn.
No, there's a left turn into the site, no left turn out of the site.
No,
So you're-
no, we said,
Oh, okay.
why is there going to, your report says you told the state that across the, what does it say here? Better alternative, simply control the left turn exit solely by signage, a no left turn sign at the driveway, and across the highway from the driveway. That's in other words, looking out?
Oh, yeah.
No, we
Yeah.
told you we didn't want a left turn in from the other side. Cross, if you don't have a gap to get out, you don't have a gap to get in, and I'm not stopping the traffic going the other way. There's gonna be a no left turn sign. If this is approved, it's gonna be a condition of the approval, no left turn into that driveway.
I hear you loud and clear.
Did your report take into account the no left?
I'm sorry?
Did your gap analysis take into account the no left turn restriction into this site and how that affected the gap time?
Yeah, actually, I probably had a premonition of what the chairman was going to, I won't say demand, but request. And it is a right turn in, right turn out on the driveway in my report.
Thank you.
Mr. Steiger, I never did that.
No, I didn't. I know that.
Okay, Mr. Vincent, are you done?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent, you're back up.
Thank you. Our next witness is Ray Carpenter.
Please stand up again, please raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're giving is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Have a seat, please. State your name, spell your name, and give your address.
Sure, it's Ray Carpenter, C-A-R-P-E-N-T-E-R.
First name is R-A-Y?
R-A-Y, yes. My address is 2517 Route 35, Building P as in Peter, Suite 101, and that's in Manasquan, New Jersey, 08736.
Have you ever appeared before this board?
No, I have not.
Have you ever appeared before any board in the city of Elizabeth?
Tuesday of this week and 3 or 4 times so far this month, yes.
Which board?
Point Pleasant Beach.
No, in Elizabeth.
Oh, no, Elizabeth? No, never.
Okay, would you give us the benefit of your education, please?
Sure. I'm a graduate of Penn State University in 1970 with a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. I was licensed to practice engineering in 1976.
And your licenses are still in order?
That's correct.
We'll
And I'm licensed
We'll accept you as an expert. Mr. Vincent.
And you're also a licensed professional planner.
That's correct. In 1978, I was licensed as a planner also.
Go for it.
What capacity is the expert testifying in?
Well, we'll start off as engineering and lead into planning.
Okay, so it's going to be both?
Both.
Okay, thank you.
It's kind of a mixed bag here.
Good way of putting it.
A lot in the book.
Mr. Carpenter, are you familiar with the site?
Yes, I am.
And are you familiar with the site plan as it presently exists and what came before it and revisions that have been made?
That's correct.
I think the best way to go through what's changed on our site plan is to go through Mr. Vinegar's July 29, 2013 letter, since most of the changes relate to that letter, or as otherwise explained by Mr. Steger.
Has Mr. Carpenter produced a revised plan to mimic Mr. Toll's revised plan?
No, Mr. Toll, with consultation with all professionals, has made these revisions, which I've summarized in my letter to the board.
Because there is a plan from Mr. Carpenter called site plan layout. That's correct. I provided that to Mr. Toll for his initial design. And you did also submit that to the city.
That must have been back in January.
Yeah, but there's no revised plan from Mr.
No, Mr. Toll's been doing all the revisions since then.
Ultimately, there will be a final site plan that incorporates all the changes. Okay.
Mr. Carpenter, in Mr. Vinegar's letter, he made note about certain complete engineering data that may not have been provided. Have you reviewed the ordinance and have as to what has been complied with and what hasn't?
Yes, I believe we're talking about
pavement profiles, public utility plans.
Yes. First of all, I believe that is that's under the waivers and variances requested.
Well, he noted that there were 4 items regarding, on the second page of his report, 4 items regarding improvement plans for street improvements, public utility plans.
Oh, yes.
Pavement profiles.
Whoa.
Sorry. Pavement profiles, drainage contours and elevation.
That's correct. This is, he refers to section 17.28.120.G. Number one, improvements, plans, cross sections, and centerline profiles.
And center line?
Centerline profiles supplied, the variance required. If you look at the section of the ordinance, it's referring to proposed new streets. We're not proposing any new streets. We will provide a pavement section as part of our final plans, but we don't feel that it's required at this time, since it's really not inherent to the function of the site. The public utilities.
Oh, well, on the driveways, in the driveway, the entrance driveway, is this not in the public right of way?
Yes, and your engineering department of the city put out a review stipulating that the pavement section that's required for the driveway entrance, we will comply with that signed
What I'm saying
section.
is, normally sometimes, especially on a state highway.
I'm sorry, Victor.
Normally, on a state highway, driveways can be profiled. The profile of the driveway.
They can be.
And that's what since the driveway is in the right of way, we're looking for a profile of the driveway.
The DOT, you might talk to Mr. Steger, but my understanding when I've done minor driveway applications to the DOT, profiles were not required. When we get into major planning, that's when they request profiles.
My letter doesn't go into DOT, it goes into municipal ordinance.
Right,
And street improvements, plans and cross sections, we're talking about the driveway, not talking about internal circulation profile, but a profile to make sure that the transition from the driveway is not too steep to bottom out of cars. So that's what we're talking about.
fine, and we'll provide that for the final site plan,
Okay,
for the final review.
But it hasn't been provided.
It has not been provided, right?
But on that point, the sections that you recited about the engineering, Mr. Vinegar, I read the ordinance as saying required for final major subdivisions and site plans is when complete engineering is required. And we are only here tonight, unless there's confusion, we're only here for preliminary. We know that certain complete engineering, like construction of the drainage thing, all have to be provided for final, and we're saying we're going to do it, but we're only here for preliminary at this point.
Well, technically no, because in New Jersey, we cannot add as final anything. So technically, when you have a preliminary in the state of New Jersey, that's everything. So we can't go at final and add things by law.
Well,
The final, the way we understand it is, everything you gave us in preliminary with minor modifications that we may have asked for, but not major additions.
Right.
Okay.
But we were talking about checklist items were about complete engineering plans, which under the ordinance comes under.
I mean, I'll give you an example. I haven't seen anything about how you're digging this basement. When you look at me, how do you know that ground, have you done test borings?
I'll have to ask.
I haven't, I'd be up to the architect.
I mean, the basement on the first plan shows basically nothing in it except for a couple of few cans for the car wash upstairs. But now the basement is becoming bigger. I don't see anything, how are you building this basement? What are the walls made out of? Is there gonna be drainage down there in that basement? I assume there should be. I haven't seen anything
What's your
about it.
construction plans?
We normally see that stuff on our plans during the preliminary. There's a lot of stuff missing here. And every time I tell you that, you come back a month later and add it. There's a lot of stuff missing.
Well, we don't have any street other than the access.
That's what I was asking for, only the driveway, it's not a big thing.
I mean, these are the kinds of things that are missing. Mr. Vinegar knows his business. He's been the city planner here for quite a long time. We rely on him. When he asks a question, we expect the answers to be given, not, we'll give it to you later. That's part of the problem here.
Item 2 with the profiles, I'm not concerned with utilities, it's really the driveway.
Right.
That, make sure that there's both the driveways.
Okay, we can get driveway profile.
That's not a major
The
issue.
other surprise is, we talked about the hoses. I mean, it's an afterthought. You're gonna let us know sometime how you're gonna get the hose from the basement to the, what are you gonna do? Build a trench that the water will run into your basement if we have a heavy rain like we had today? I mean, I don't know. And neither do you. These are major concerns to us. This isn't a frivolous game that we're playing here. We've sat here for 4 hearings, listening to you. And every time we ask a serious question, we get a different answer. And that's a grave concern.
Mr. Chair, we have made these changes to try and address concerns.
Right, but there's still there's still things missing.
Okay. Well, let's.
And eventually, I'm gonna call this to an end. I mean, I can't keep going on every month. I have other hearings and other cases that I have to push off because I'm listening to you. And believe me, that's not fair for the other applicants. They had their experts here tonight that have to be paid.
I must say, I mean, it was a very thorough report, but it came to us the day before the hearing.
So did your plans come to Mr. Vinegra.
I don't know how it gets from one to another.
A non-timely fashion.
I know.
I don't see a report that he gave me on these
No, he
revised
hasn't had a
plans.
chance to.
Because he hasn't had a chance to do it.
Right.
And under most circumstances, if my planner doesn't have a chance to do it, you know what I'm gonna tell you? Come back when I have a plan in my hand, a report in my hand. I've been very nice to you tonight to let you come in here and try to answer the questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Vinegar, are you done?
Well, on these
No, I was just
submissions,
trying.
if you could clarify for us, Mr. Mayor, what you'd like to see by way of the public utilities or any of those other things.
The utilities, well, where will the connection to the sanitary sewer be?
It's shown on the second sheet, or I'm sorry, the third sheet. It's in Edgar Road. A03. Top right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Sometimes the profiles are good to make sure we don't have any conflicts. That's why normally we just get a profile of the service connection. So we don't have a conflict. Okay. This is just, we're going over the review letter.
I thought these were some good preliminary items to clear up. Drainage facilities.
But basically, before we go on, I'm looking at the ordinance too. And actually, under section 2, it says major and final site plan. But my questions are coming after item 4, preliminary site plan proposals. And then
Preliminary what?
Sorry. It's section 1728.120, item 4.
Right here. Right?
Yeah, yes. So, based on these schedules is what I'm basing engineering plan drawings, not based on what you said, final.
Yes, but the engineering was defined later on, I believe in subsection G, to mean all these things.
Well, we know we requested some preliminary, so. Because preliminary is everything in New Jersey, so. Well, let's keep,
I noticed most of the applications were preliminary.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
I mean, it's not here.
All right.
So the drainage facilities, you want to see, I assume it's spot elevations.
Let's continue with the questioning.
Okay,
Please.
we'll work out these submissions.
I mean, this is the kind of thing that I told the previous attorney that we adjourned. This is the kind of thing that you guys should have come in, sat down with Mr. Vinegar. Now, he tells me you were there and he gave you things to do. We're not going to do it here at this meeting. So let's go.
That's fine. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, substantive comments. No access drive or driveway shall be obstructed and no architectural feature shall be permitted to project into the minimum established width of an access drive or driveway.
Minimum established.
Width. Could you explain to the board what we've made by way of revisions to alleviate any of those types of concerns?
It was my impression that this was related to the pork chop that Mr. Steger referred to, at the entrance driveway onto South Elmora Avenue. We did remove it and we put a painted island in that area.
And we also removed a planting island.
Yes, at the southwest corner of the proposed structure, there was a large planter that actually went out into the parking area. We reduced it to the point where we now have a bypass lane past the island, past the entrance to the car wash, and around the building.
And were any other such items reduced or altered to improve the flow around the building?
Well, we actually shrunk the size of the building to provide for the 3-foot offset from the curb line to the proposed structure as required by ordinance.
Okay. And I was addressing a different comment of Mr. Venegas that we needed that 3 foot between the drive and the building.
Correct.
And also a similar comment was regarding the driveways and blockage, with the same comment apply to that also? That we've improved the ingress and egress and circulation on the site?
Yes, we obviously improved the ingress and egress on the site and the overall flow through the site.
And his comment regarding parking spaces that you can get in and out of, and that change, does that also make those parking spaces more viable?
Yes, because we no longer have to worry about cars backing up along the spaces numbered 5, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's an open lane, that's an aisle. It's not meant to be a queuing aisle, it's meant to be a bypass aisle.
Now, Mr. Urbanegger had a comment regarding the buffer to the residential property. Could you explain to the board what, as a planner, whether or not we have any type of encroachment like that?
No, the ordinance specifically says buffer shall be required between any structure and a residential property. The structure is 10 feet from the residential property. The aisle or parking, truck parking is allowable. There's no restriction to that other than the setback from the property line, which is 5 feet. So that's not...
No variances required.
No variances required. We meet the buffer requirement.
What comment was that?
That was comment
5.
5 on page 4 of 6.
Driveways are permitted, but this is a trash loading bay. I don't know how to agree with
This
is a trash loading. Trash loading bay.
But the ordinance specifically states structure, and a loading bay, aisle, parking area is not considered a structure.
In what section of the ordinance you refer?
By definition.
The definition section of the ordinance?
I don't think you have a definition for structure, but you have a definition for building.
I have to be correct. I'm looking at the ordinance now. I remember double checking this. We'll continue with your testimony.
Okay. Moving on to the next item is number 6, where it refers to the illumination, where it says, whereas it appears that the illumination levels along the western property line exceed 2-foot candles, a design waiver is required. You look at the lighting landscape plan, which is sheet A04. If you look at the westerly property line, which is the property line that abuts the residential building, you will see a line clearly designated as 1.0 foot candle along the entire westerly property line.
That's per the revised plans.
Actually, that was in the plans as of May 17th.
We'll check that.
Going on to item number 7, you refer to all evergreen trees shall be no less than 4 feet in height at time of planting. Design waivers required. We're not proposing any evergreen trees.
If evergreen trees were utilized, you would comply with the ordinance?
Obviously, yes.
Your testimony that the original plans were below 2-foot candles is incorrect. I'm referring to Plan A-04 by Mr. Toll. Last revision dated May 17th, and I do see a foot candle line of 2 feet per second at the property line, so.
It was
So you.
subsequently
So
changed.
was my comment and the review letter correct?
That's correct. But we subsequently reduced the foot candle to 1. Moving on to comment number 7, your report. Refers to evergreen trees being less than 4 feet in height. We're not proposing any evergreen trees.
Was your previous plan proposing some evergreen trees?
I don't.
I have a landscape architect and staff that does that. Maybe your previous plan had evergreen trees.
No, let's check.
Well, I don't want to go over it.
No, but
Let's continue your testimony.
okay, we're not proposing any evergreen
At
trees
this,
at this
revised,
point.
okay, the revised plan.
Go ahead.
On landscaping, deciduous trees.
Landscaping C, deciduous trees shall not be less than 7 feet in height. At the time of planting, cherry trees are shown to be 3 feet. We've revised the plans to show that cherry trees have to be 2.5-inch caliper. A 2.5-inch caliper is a minimum of 7 feet, more likely 8 or 9 feet, actually, for that particular species. Number 9, deals with performance standards. I think we went through that, dealing with the blowers and the drying and the
Yes,
vacuuming.
we're going to submit that. Just to go back to the cherry trees, we will comply with the ordinance requirement, correct?
That's correct. And then under the general comments, there's about the use of high-pressure sodium. We have no problem doing metal halide or LED lights at the town's request. Recommended additional ornamental trees be located in front of the 4-foot decorative fence. I have a problem with that, mainly because the majority of the area in front of the 4-foot fence is within the site triangle for the intersection of Edgewood Road and Elmora Avenue, and another portion of the area in question would be within the site triangle area related to the driveway entering onto.
You don't want trees, you don't want that.
No. So we might be able to squeeze one decorative tree at the very northeasterly corner of the site.
So if a feasible location could be found, we'd have no problem adding that.
That's correct. And we'll add the note about all plants shall conform to the standards set forth in the record standard of the industry stock. As
Get the
published.
standards out.
Standards as set forth in the American Standard of Nursery Stock, published by the American Association of Nurserymen Incorporated, first section 17.32.080E.
So, having reviewed everything, are there any design waivers that we are requiring with this application?
No, we will provide all the information that is requested by Mr. Vinegret in this letter, specifically referring to the comments under 17.28.120G and all the subsequent comments that I just made.
And in the listing, when he lists all the design waivers that might be required, has the plan been revised to eliminate those needs?
Yes, we
Has the
have.
plan been revised
To
to,
eliminate those needs.
That's correct.
kind of hard with the noise out there.
I appreciate that very much.
Can you keep it down out there?
Fred, relax.
Now, let's turn to the issue of the buffer again, only because I think that's an issue that we have to resolve here. So he, as a planner, would have to justify it if it needed to require.
Thank you. That's good. That's fine. As long as it cuts the noise down.
The way I read the ordinance, the dumpster is fully compliant with the buffering requirements. You are allowed to have a parking space, and you're allowed to have a drive aisle within the buffer areas.
I'll have to see that because uses in the buffer areas, per the ordinance, driveways are permitted. So we're okay with the driveway, it's that the loading and unloading will be performed in the loading and unloading of a dumpster will be performed in the buffer area. So the access drive is one aspect, and I didn't bring that up. If you noticed, I was very specific that I felt that the loading space is not an access driveway, it's a loading area for the trash dumpster. So that's what I was.
But the trash dumpster is actually 10 feet off, so that...
But you could move the loading space over. So this area here.
Make it end at the...
Make it 10 feet from the property line.
Right.
And you could probably make that work.
Well, because we know it's 10 feet because that's where the dumpster is.
Correct. So
So
that was the question, because the activity of loading and unloading the
Okay. You can make that review.
dumpster.
So it's not the issue of whether it's a structure or not. It's the activity that's the question.
Yeah, because the driveway is permitted, but this is acting not as a driveway, but a loading and unloading area of the dumpster.
So if the activity is outside of the 10 feet, then they don't need the waiver.
That's what
I'm sorry, if the
Activity
activity,
is outside the 10 feet, then they don't need the waiver.
So are you suggesting that we take the truck parking space,
Just
and moving it over?
Yes.
Just doesn't...
Because you do have room.
It would be the same as the structure.
But then we're going to impact the handicap parking space.
I don't think you need all that cross-hatched area. You may or may not.
So we would end the crosshatched area basically at the end of the
So,
handicap stall and then work the loading zone.
correct, because normally with the loading zones, the way I review those, we ask that the applicant.
I'm sorry, Victor.
We ask that the applicant place loading areas away off, follow the buffer requirements for the loading areas, because that's where an activity will take place. It's not an access aisle, it's an activity area. And it looks like you do have room over there.
I would have to agree with you on that.
And I guess arborvitae, I guess they are, arborvitae are evergreen, so I consider them.
They're not considered trees, according
I see a
to,
little nursery book there.
according
I
to,
saw that with the nursery book over there.
according to the Princeton Nursery.
It's a beat up one, too.
And it's been around a while.
So I got,
According to their delineation, arborvitaes are considered shrubs, not trees.
Some of those trees in that book are...
evergreen, whatever. That's for my landscape architect stuff. I got them. And they tell them arborvitaes are enough.
You better get a copy of that book.
Yeah, he hit my guy in the head with it.
Go down and visit, it's beautiful.
Okay. Mr. Vincent, any further questions for this witness?
At this point, not at this point, though, if we have an issue with that buffer variance, you may have to address that at a later date.
Commissioners, questions for the witness? Counselor?
Yes, thank you. You stated that there are no waivers or variances required. Do you know what the required parking stall width is according to code for this type of use?
According to what code?
To the city's code.
The standard parking space is 9 by 18 for a 93 parking, and it's 8 by 22 for a parallel parking space.
By the city's code?
That's the ASHTO standard for parking.
Okay, but the city code, do you know what that requires?
I believe it's the same as the ASHTO code.
I would submit to the board that 17.32.060 with respect to use group W, which this qualifies under according to the applicant.
I'm sorry, with respect to?
Use group W that the applicant is submitting this application under, the minimum required parking stall width is 9 feet 6 inches.
According to our schedule.
If you look (9'6", but that doesn't define whether it's a parallel parking space or whether it's a 93 parking space.
No, it makes no distinction.
Parking scale. Oh, got it.
So how big
The
is
size on the plan is 8.5.
8.5, so short a foot?
And that's the, but that's the ASHTO standard.
The ASHTO standard is very nice, but if the city has a standard, we have to follow the city's too.
ASTHO?
AASHTO. Okay.
Then we would have to amend the application to be compliant with the ordinance.
Can you? You have no space.
We will find the space.
Would that
You just carved a lane out of that space.
Right.
What?
You carved a bypass lane in that space. Right? Isn't that where the bypass?
No, that lane was always there.
It wasn't that wide. It wasn't that wide. It didn't go around
That
the
lane
building.
wasn't in the previous set of plans.
Right, it wasn't there.
Do we know that it's use group W, Victor?
What section are you quoting?
I'm quoting
17. This one right here.
17.32.060. And then if you want to verify that it's use group W, if you go to schedule, I believe it's 1A.
It is use group W, yes.
Use group W.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to need to change paper.
Okay, we will wait for Fred to change paper.
We're not all going to be speechless. Talk all you want.
It's not going on the record. It's going on that record.
Yeah, that's right.
So hard.
You actually have to be unconnected to the line.
You know what, from now on, when we come to this meeting, we got a big chart.
My family, I went to Yellowstone and see all the trees and all this. I was 13-year-old daughter. The best part was when I told her that the 4 days we were in Yellowstone, there was no cell.
You ready, Freddie? Okay, Councilman?
So we established that the applicant doesn't satisfy the minimum width parking requirements. The next provision I'd like to move to is 17.32.060B, entitled Ingress and Egress. That provides that all driveways, aisles, and other vehicle circulation areas shall be designed to accommodate the following minimum turning radii. and it details what it is for automobiles, straight trucks, and semi-trailers. Have you prepared turning radiuses to ensure that these standards have been complied with and submitted to the board?
We did turning radiuses for the automobiles.
Were the turning radius submitted to the board?
No, they were not. We will do that.
And could a straight truck and or semi-trailer navigate the site?
We're not proposing any.
I understand, but could one navigate the site?
No.
Could a fire truck now?
Hold it, please.
Yes.
Don't answer. You want me to ask that
Yes,
question?
I got it.
Could a fire truck navigate that site?
The fire truck could enter the site.
Navigate the site.
A fire truck could enter the site the same way a garbage truck would enter the site.
You're not answering my question. Could the fire truck drive around that building?
I didn't do the calculations.
The turning radius.
I did for an automobile, not for a SU-30 vehicle.
No, but doesn't the ordinance require an SU-30 vehicle to have access around the site?
Just says provide for an
Hold
SU-30
on a
vehicle.
minute, please.
Wait,
Hold on.
Freddie's having problems.
Do things on the fly, you get the fly back in your face.
Let me ask the question again when Freddie's ready, Victor.
Okay, go ahead.
Does it not, in fact, doesn't the ordinance require you to provide turning movements for a delivery vehicle, minimum radius?
We explained where a delivery vehicle would enter
No,
the site.
that's not the question.
That's not the question.
Provides for a delivery vehicle, right?
Does this site provide for circulation of a delivery vehicle?
Yes, it does. An SU-30 vehicle can access the site, pick up the garbage, and exit the site.
While there's vehicles,
There are not going to be any vehicles at the site because it's going to be prior to the operation of the facility.
But you still haven't gotten around to answering my question.
we did not do
an analysis of the turning radius to get a fire truck around the vehicle.
No, but let me read the ordinance. It's quite written in plain English. All driveways, aisles, and other vehicle circulation areas shall be designed to accommodate the following minimum turning radii.
Victor, keep your voice up, please.
All driveways, aisles, and other vehicular circulation area shall be designed to accommodate the following minimum turning radii. And it says straight trucks with an outside radii of 38 feet.
We will provide that.
It can't,
We will revise the plans to accommodate that.
Building is getting smaller.
okay, then the plans that have been submitted cannot meet what you're testifying. They do not meet turning radius of an outside SU 38 feet. They don't meet it. So your testimony does not match what you have submitted.
I never testified that it would meet that.
You just testified that your application will meet that requirement.
I said we did turning radiuses for an automobile vehicle. And I also testified that we did an analysis that we could get a garbage truck into the site and out of the site.
You heard the ordinance being read. I heard
I
it
know.
very clearly. You don't meet the ordinance.
Right, we will revise the plan to meet the ordinance.
And if unable to do so, we will offer justification for it.
Then this plan then is not what
This
we're
plan that
reviewing.
we've been looking at for the last 4 months is inaccurate, incorrect.
Sure. It was my understanding that what you were proposing was that or what you were testifying to was that the radiuses, the radii that you were meeting were for the uses that you were intending to put on the site. In other words, the ordinance also requires 50 feet outside radius for a semi-trailer, but you're not proposing to put a semi-trailer on the building.
That's correct.
Right. So I think what you're saying is that you are providing adequate turning radii for the vehicles that you anticipate being on the property.
That's correct.
Right. The problem, I think, the difference between the applicant and what I'm hearing from some of the board is whether or not your testimony is credible as to what vehicles are going to be on the property. I think that's a separate question.
But Counselor, not only that, they've tailored the circulation to the vehicles they say will be there, but the ordinance says that they have to have circulation for up to a 30. They can't do that. Now you're going to come back and you're going to redesign this building again?
No, well, I think, I could be wrong, but I think what they're saying is, obviously, the ordinance says that a semi-trailer, you have to have 50 feet. Now, if you're building an application like we just saw here for residential, there's no one's proposing a semi-trailer. So that part of the ordinance just doesn't apply. They don't have to meet that. But
a fire truck, they have to meet.
Well, that's just, right, that's just.
Well, fire truck, not necessarily. What we apply is, for the type of use, we apply what the turning radius are gonna be. If it's a warehouse, this is a Wakefern, we apply the semi-truck. If it's a facility that's commercial that takes deliveries, we apply the SU-30 or 35 vehicle. We've applied the SU-30 and it doesn't work.
That's because that's based upon the position that they are going to have SU-30 deliveries, and that's an issue, that's a credibility issue with the testimony of the applicant.
Well, the applicant himself indicated that he was going to pick up all the materials and bring them on site with his van truck.
Right. And I think what I'm trying to say to the board is that that testimony, the testimony that you don't have to have that turning width is only as good as you believe that the credibility of the applicant is that he's only going to pick up all of the stuff from somewhere else and deliver it. If you believe that, then fine, then you don't need the wider turning radius. If you have doubts about that, you do need a wider turning radius. I think that's a fair statement.
No, I'll have to find that.
I think we have correspondence from your Elizabeth Fire Department reviewing this site.
This goes way back to May. Nothing since.
If I may, I think it's in the testimony from the last meeting that we did not have anything from the Elizabeth Fire Department. That's correct.
What do you have in front of you, Mr. Vincent?
Fire Department Director.
Can I see that, please?
Recommended.
After the last meeting?
Stamp May.
It's not the director's signature, that's first of all. That's Marta's signature showing that she received it. And what do they say? Recommended. Fire department connection front of the building with new permanent sprinkler caps, 20-foot wide roadway around complex. Do we have a 20-foot roadway around the complex? Locked box for fire department, enunciator panel for exterior entrance. Is there a 20-foot roadway around the building like that? It says conditions stipulated for approval as follows. And that is one of the 20-foot wide roadway around the complex.
There's not a 20-foot wide, free, clear roadway around it.
We've never seen that, but commissioners have never seen that. I don't have it in my package because I've never seen that.
I asked.
Yeah, last month it was asked and we were told we didn't have one, but you have a copy of that, but that very clearly states 20 feet. I don't think there's 20 feet. The fire department has the same concern I do. You know, you can't say, oh, the fire truck can back up over there. That's nice. What happens if the fire's in the other corner of the building? I don't put my firemen's lives in danger. They've got to be able to get to where they're supposed to go. Okay, let's go on.
And if I
Wait,
might,
Ms. Vincent, are you done?
No, she was questioning.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm very confused. And I want you to know very clearly, 11 o'clock, good night, we go home. We don't sit here past 11 o'clock.
there was testimony provided previously that there are going to be deliveries outside of the ones that are, only the garbage which is restricted between the hours of 7 and 8, and there were going to be other deliveries that are coming. So they would have to circulate, such as, you know, Coke, Coca-Cola, the car mess, the air freshener. So I would submit to the board that the applicant has to prove that this variance or deviation is absolutely, demonstrate the proofs for that they're not being satisfied. The next section of the code, 17.32.060D, safety islands. It states that a 10-foot island shall be provided between the end of the parking bay and any driveway, aisle, or other areas as required by the planning board or city engineer. On the plans next to parking space 7, there was formerly a planting area that was larger, is that correct?
That's correct.
And it has been reduced. Can you tell me what the size of that planting area is? That island?
I venture to say it's 3 or 4 feet.
So it's not 10 feet.
No, it's not 10 feet.
There's also a provision, just to point out for the board, 17.36.060.E.4, which is noise, we covered earlier, but that is within your code that the applicant would have to demonstrate that they're compliant, otherwise they would have to demonstrate their proofs for the variance or waiver from that condition. The specifications have not been provided, so I don't know what the applicant is requesting. So is the applicant requesting a waiver or variation, or are they satisfying it?
They're going to submit the information.
They're going to submit the information.
As we stipulated.
That was stipulated earlier.
So the board doesn't have it before them today?
That's correct.
17.36.140A, screening and landscaping. Outdoor storage or work areas other than automobile service stations shall be enclosed by a solid or continuous wall, fence, or landing sufficient to screen such activity from view. Can you tell me on the plans where the vacuum cleaning area is located?
It's directly off the southeast corner of the proposed building.
Could that classify as a work area to you?
I don't know what the definition of a work area is.
Have you looked in the code for it?
No, I have not.
Have
Can
you
you
looked
tell-
in the what for it?
Code. Can you tell me what type of fencing is proposed along that property line where the vacuum cleaning area is located?
4-foot-high decorative fence.
Is that a solid and continuous wall, fence, or landscaping sufficient to screen the activity from view?
It's an open decorative fence. There's a detail on the landscaping plan. We thought it was more aesthetically pleasing to have this fence around the site rather than a solid fence.
But a pedestrian or somebody passing by the site can see the activities that are occurring there. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Also, section 17.36.145A1G, rooftop fixtures shall not be visible to pedestrians on the street. Has the rooftop plan been submitted to the board for their review and consideration?
The only plan that was submitted to the board was A06, which shows the left, right, front elevation view of the structure.
There was no rooftop plan that was submitted.
No, there wasn't.
Was the specifications for the rooftop mechanical equipment submitted to the board?
I don't know if there was any intention of putting mechanical equipment on the roof. That would be up to the architect.
Are there any rooftop fixtures?
There's none noted on the plans. I don't have the architecturals.
The architect's not here. They weren't on file with the board 10 days in advance. I asked for the copy of the plans. I didn't see them. So there was also testimony tonight that there is going to be detailing occurring within the building. Would you classify that as an auto service?
What we're doing on this entire site is an auto service. Washing cars is an auto service.
The detailing in particular, that would be an auto service as well?
I think it goes hand in hand with the car wash facility, which is a permitted use.
Well, I don't disagree with you that the car wash facility is a permitted use. But if you move to Schedule 3, Conditional Uses G, entitled Minor Auto Repair and Service, minor auto repair and service shall be allowed in the C4 district provided the following conditions are maintained.
Okay?
And one of those conditions, condition 4, is all such establishments shall provide at least 8 off-site parking spaces plus 2 spaces for each work or service area. Are we satisfying that condition? Do the plans satisfy that condition?
No, they don't.
And if the plan doesn't satisfy a condition of a conditional use, can you tell me what board the applicant should be before?
Zoning board,
And what board are we before?
planning board.
So does this board have jurisdiction to hear this application?
It's a legal question, I think. I'm not sure it's qualified to answer that. Let me raise that. We spoke about this briefly. Go ahead. Do you want to address the issue first? Sure. Mr. Vincent?
Yes, stipulation, no detailing is absolutely fine. You've heard Mr. Schwartz testify, it's like, yeah, something once in a while. It's not of any great importance to the applicant to be able to do any detailing. And if it's going to trigger the application of a different ordinance and create a different use than is what we submitted, which is a car wash, then it's absolutely unnecessary and we don't need it at all.
That's the simpler answer than my answer. So stipulate there's no detail.
I heard it.
Okay.
And also,
No rainy day detail.
Everybody gets a day off.
okay. 17.48.060B1,
Would you do that again? Is it 48 or 40A?
48 point
Start from the beginning again.
17.
Yes.
.48.060.B1. Signs in commercial district. Only the business name, logo, street number, or are permitted on the sign. Can you describe the signs that are proposed for this facility?
I think they're shown on sheet, A05.
Thank you. Could you just state for the record what is written on the sign, or proposed to be written on the sign?
There are 9 signs shown on the sheet. All are basically MTCD standard.
Basically what?
MTCD standard signs. They refer to traffic control, direction stop signs, no parking, no left turn signs, do not enter. There is one sign at the entrance to the car wash that says car wash, keep right.
I'm not speaking about the directional signs, the facade signage. Can you describe what the facade signage states?
It says South Elmora Car Wash.
And is there another sign that's proposed?
Other than the traffic control signs, I don't see one.
If you look at the right side elevation, there's a sign proposed there
Right,
on sheet A06.
it says car entrance.
Right. Does that classify as a business name, logo, or street number?
No, but I think it would qualify as a directional sign, which would be related to traffic flow.
But it is on the facade of the building, is that correct?
That's correct.
Also, section 17.48.061, sign specifications. And I'm not going to go through them, but the code is very specific about the types of materials and format of the signs that it permits and what it doesn't permit. Was any signage detail provided to the board with respect to the signs that are proposed?
Other than the architectural detail on sheet A06, no.
And that doesn't state what types of materials are proposed, does it?
No. I think, Mark, I think the applicant would stipulate to meeting the ordinance.
Of course. You can show it's an illuminated business sign.
Sorry?
That it is an illuminated business sign.
Do we have the size and measurement of those signs?
It's somewhat digestible.
Sign dimensions are 2 by 53 or 106 square feet. Top of sign height equal 14 feet. I guess they're indicating it's 14 feet above grade.
Do they meet the standards?
I'll have to double check on total square footage.
Since that information wasn't provided clearly with the sign detail. Mr. Johnson?
Yes. So I believe we identified, several design waivers and/or variances that are required in connection with this application tonight. Can you state for the board what the proofs are that an applicant must satisfy in order to be granted a waiver and/or variance?
We're going to revise the plan so that there are no waivers or variances required.
But we've had testimony for 4 nights on plans that now you're going to revise for the 4th reiteration?
We've been revising the plans at the board's directions for 4 times, yes.
There's got to be a limit here. I mean, I agree, there's got to be a limit here. I mean, every time we tell you something's wrong, you go fix it. We're being very tolerant of this nonsense at this point in time. And I think we got to draw a line somewhere.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I know I made the point earlier. The reports earlier on in this process did not have many comments, frankly, at all.
No,
no.
Turning radius was always.
That was, yes, that's a bad
That's
yeah. But a lot of the design waivers in the last one.
Gentlemen, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I did not get what Victor said, because you're all talking at the same time.
I'll repeat, the review letters were always concerned with a number of issues. They were always concerned with this distance and the buffer. They've always been consistent with the buffer distance from the trash loading area. They've always been consistent that the driveway has to be free and clear, cannot have cars parked in it. They've always been free and clear that uses such as this require a loading truck to be able to make a maneuver around the property. At least to pull in the property, and if they have to exit, not back into another driveway. So those waivers have always been identified, or variances have always been identified, and they still have yet to be met.
There are a whole bunch of things that have yet to be
So
met.
now the testimony from the engineer is the plans will be modified to meet those three requirements.
I mean,
So this plan
do
again
we,
is,
let me ask you a question, Mr. Vincent. Do we work for you? Do we work for Mr. Schwartzman?
Well, in a sense, your professionals do, because he pays significant escrows and. in
The
that-
bottom
that
line
sense.
is, the bottom line is.
But the board members know.
The bottom line is that you've had 4 months of opportunity to go and sit down with Mr. Venegro and work through these difficulties. And yet, every time you come back here, there are difficulties. We pointed out a whole slew of them tonight.
We have had meetings, and we came out of them thinking we knew what direction to go, and obviously missed something.
And I'm going, the comment I was gonna make when Freddie interrupted me before is very simple. You submitted these revised plans to the office very late. They were within the time frame, but you gotta understand, Mr. Venegro needs time to review these things. There is no letter here tonight because he did not have the time to review it. 4 hours ago, I could have said to you, go home. Because without the piece of paper from Mr. Venegro, we usually do not proceed on a hearing. At this point in time, I'm going to tell you, I have 3 opportunities for you. One, I'm going to ask you to withdraw this application, redraw the application, and come back with one clean application and have one shot at the apple. That's one choice. The other choice is that I will call for a motion from the board and take a vote on this application. But I will not continue this application the way it is. I'm giving you 2 choices.
Mr. Chairman, we have been responding to
But every
reports.
time there are more comments, there are more.
That happens.
It's never, it has not. You know,
what I'm saying
I don't know
is
who
you
this,
get-
I don't know
I
who
don't-
this gentleman is, but he's jumping up and down in this room. He did it a couple of weeks ago. If you want to testify, let him call you.
I'm waiting for you to ask what color car can go through the car wash.
Would you
Mr.
leave?
Bolton,
Would you leave?
I will do.
Mr. Chairman, you get one set of comments raising certain issues, you make changes, and you get different sets of comments. And frankly, the last comment letter we had so many comments.
Then you should have asked for an adjournment until you got those comments taken care of.
That's exactly what we did. That's why we weren't here in August. Because I said, I
And
can't
so
address
you-
a 5-page letter in 24 hours.
And then the plans that come back after 2 months come back on the 30th
Our
of August.
professionals worked very hard in August to try and address every comment in that report to the best of their ability and in good faith. And it was, I know that I planned.
Can I ask you this? If I let you go to next month, I want revised plans in Mr. Venegra's hands at least 20 days before. Okay?
The meeting's only 20 some odd
Excuse
days
me.
away.
Okay, then would you wait to November and get him plans? I'm gonna give you one more bite at the apple, one more. If we can't get it done at the end of the next, we have sat here now for I don't know how many hours. The bottom line is, back here in November, I want to see a whole new set of plans. I don't want to have to go through 5 sheets of paper to figure out what the heck you're showing me. And please, make sure that you make an appointment with Mr. Venegra before that next meeting. And any loose ends at that point in time, it's over.
Well, again, as we have done, we have endeavored to comply with every ordinance requirement and
And
not.
we've endeavored to sit here and listen to it.
And I appreciate the time very much, sir, but again, I'm not responsible for all of it.
You're the attorney.
Sure. There's been another one here, so.
I want to know, have you finished your cross of this witness?
No, because the plans are gonna be revised. I think it's an act in futility for me to go forward cross-examining him. It's gonna be a waste of my time and the board's time to continue, because the plans are gonna be revised.
Can I also ask that when these revised plans are done, that a copy is sent to that law firm? So that we don't sit here and you can ask your questions then, But I'm gonna tell you, I don't know what's gonna be on the plans in November. I can't keep this going forever and ever and ever.
Mr. Chairman, here's the reason why I asked the question. Right. All of the new design waivers that are on the table as possibly applying to this application have now been raised by virtue of the cross-examination of this witness by the objector's attorney. I would like to know if the objector's attorney thinks that any other relief is required in this application.
No.
Thank you.
Mr. Vincent?
So November, and with 20 days ahead of...
Please, with 20 days ahead to Mr.
20 days to
Venegro.
Mr. Venegro.
And to deliver it to Mr. Venegro. You can deliver your copies to the office upstairs, but I want to make sure that a copy goes to Mr. Venegro and a copy goes to Genova Burns as well, to Ms. Johnson's attention. I assume you're going to be back in November.
Either I or Michael Olivera will do that.
One of you, but I want a copy handed to them. And then we will do the best we can to come to a conclusion as to whether or not this car wash will be built. Okay, the date is November the 7th.
Just briefly, Mr. Chairman, I'm looking at the first review letter, and there were other comments prior to that about the driveway. The fact that March 28th of 2013, a number of months ago, obviously, we've stated that we were looking for ordinance, applicant shall provide testimony to the adequacy of the refuse area. Applicant shall provide testimony with respect to how deliveries will accommodate the turning radii, internal driveways for an SU 30. The queuing lanes and the performance standards for noise, vibration, glare, dust, and odor were all stated back in March of 28th of 2013, the original review letter. So, again, the two iterations of revisions to these plans
still haven't
not
addressed those
addressed
issues.
it. And now the testimonies tonight is, well, we will address it. Then
Well,
these two sets
here's
of
your
plans
shot
are-
at addressing all the open issues, and if those open issues aren't addressed by the next time around, we will take the necessary action at this board.
So let me add one other.
And that means a vote.
Let me add one other thing, because I agree with Victor that that's been here all along. What I think the applicant needs to understand is that there are now additional issues, the new issues that have been raised tonight. You have to go back and decide, for example, are you going to replace the decorative fence with a solid fence, or are you going to ask for a waiver and then provide the proofs as to justifying that waiver? Because those are now issues that are in front of us that we're looking for. So I hope you have a good list of the issues that you've raised, because we'll be looking for you to either comply or explain why you shouldn't have it.
Okay, at this point in time, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.